All right. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me get TikTok up real quick. I can't do the going live soon on there, so. Okay. That looks good. And of course the cats are being hyper right now, because why wouldn't they be? Milo. Hello, Santana, and hello, Gunnar, and Bethany, and Maddie, and Fallen Crow, and the Grezkev, hello, welcome in. Who else did I see in here? Got Teresa, Bear, and we'll probably give a little more time for everybody to trickle in, so we'll just chat for a little bit. Castle has not arrived home quite yet, so you're gonna have to deal with me this evening. Sorry. But we're gonna continue reading Child of the Prophecy. And we'll probably just hang out. I will read for as long as my throat will last. That's the plan, anyway. Aaron's here too. Hello, Aaron. And Rain, hello. You're on Twitch now instead of TikTok? It is nicer on Twitch, I think, because we have most of our people over there who want to chat and engage. So if you like to talk to everybody else, it's nice to be on Twitch. You're having a great day? I saw. That's really good news, Erin. Yes, deal with me, Maddie. Well, that is very sweet. I'm glad you could trust me with your life. That's a pretty big deal. I mean, how often do you have the IRS tell you overpaid? It's pretty nice. Get some back. Hello, Emerald's lady. Yeah, I don't know what's up with my throat. I don't feel sick. It's just like I've been getting like a scratchiness. So I'm drinking some warm coffee and hopefully it won't be a problem. Hello, George. We are going to read Child of the Prophecy today. Juliette Marie. I don't know if you are familiar with it. But I had to quit reading before the chapter was over the last session, so let me see. We are on chapter 8. They're just very long chapters. She writes her chapters very long compared to most people. I don't really mind that, but it does mean that sometimes we don't finish if my voice doesn't hold out. Yeah, I know. I got bullied into resting on Sunday. So I made Maddie play some games with me because I'm like, well, I could probably handle that because then I don't have to be talking all the time. Oh no, Erin. Dang, that's crazy. Just finding all of the deceased creatures back there, huh? Hello, is that Yelfer? The Skald? Good evening. I'm doing well. I feel okay. My throat's a little scratchy, so I am going to read. I just don't know how long I'm gonna last, but I'm gonna just take it as far as I can go. It's okay, Milo. You can be a little late. I figured we would give a little time for everyone to trickle in. You're playing Pal World? That's funny. You have a creek in the yard, Erin? That's so cool. You like my hair? Thank you. I just wanted it up. It's been so warm. And there's not really a whole lot I can do with my hair. It's very fine, you know. I've got like Irish and English and Welsh blood, so I think it's pretty well known that a lot of the UK people have very fine, thin hair. So I am going to be reading Child of the Prophecy by Juliette Marie. Most of her stories are based on Celtic lore, so there's a lot of, like, there's some magical elements, but it's not like Harry Potter where people just can use magic willy-nilly. It's very selective. It's contained, like there's reasons behind it. Princess Leia vibes. That would be crazy to do the like huge braids on the side of the head. I do not have enough hair to do that without like some extra stuff there. It is very nice. I enjoy her writing style. It's literary fantasy, so I don't think anyone here finds it heavy, but I do notice that newer novels are easier to read, which I don't particularly like because I enjoy a good challenge. You do love Celtic myths? Okay, that's awesome. This is actually part of a trilogy, and the first book, protagonist, it's inspired by the folk tale The Wild Swans, if you're familiar with that one. And so the protagonist it was a young girl. She's the youngest of 7 children, and all of her other siblings are elder brothers, and they all get turned into swans by a sorceress. And this book's protagonist is actually the granddaughter of that sorceress. So it's interesting to see how she will come into play for this overarching story. You're looking for a name for your character? I am terrible at coming up with names. That is the worst part of writing, I think, for me. Because once you decide, like, it's there. You can't change it. You just started tapping the screen like on TikTok. You're so funny, Rain. Oh, that's okay, Yofer. Tech can get a little finicky sometimes, right? Okay. So it looks like we're about halfway through this book. So maybe we'll need a few more months to get through it, since I'm really only reading on Sundays for you guys, and it's Castle on the other 2 days. But let's see if we can get through this. Yeah, I think that will be fine. Yeah. It's only like 14 pages left in this chapter. It is very hard to find the correct one. I agree. Midlife crisis? That's funny. I don't like finding names for my writings either. Yeah, it's the hardest part, I think. Aside from, like, I have a terrible time writing short stories because my brain just naturally goes into like this world building mode, and then I create this huge epic in my mind, and then it's not a short story anymore. So that is my weakness. Hello, Tyson. Welcome back. Okay. So, Vanya, who is the protagonist of the story, she was going to look for Derek, if you recall, and then my throat gave out as she was catching up to him. So I feel bad that we left off on that cliffhanger, but it is what it is. You'll be lurking? Oh no. Okay. That's fine, Bear. You can lurk. Hopefully you can listen while you're doing your chores. The tavern keeper is okay. He's still on the road coming back. He helped his sister move out to Maine, and so he and his brother and his sister and their 2 boys drove all the way out to Maine, and now the boys are coming back. Hello, female Godzilla. You may call me Zilla. Okay. I will do my best to remember that. Welcome in, Zilla. That is very long from California, yes. It's been a very long trip. Longer than it was supposed to be, which is frustrating, but what's important is that he gets back here safe. Apparently it's bad omens, Aaron. I mean, it might be. You might want to set up some cameras, see what's going on back there. Hello, Frost. Welcome back. We are reading Child of the Prophecy by Juliet Marie. I really hope not, Aaron. That would be terrible. But I know that happens. There will be some people that just don't like the local fauna, and they'll unalive them, which is terrible. You know, like, they gotta live somewhere, and I understand that they can be pests, but there are better ways to deal with it. The trip out there was successful. It had quite a few hiccups, to be honest, but they made it through. You have a lot of foxes? Yeah. I mean, I suppose that would The sign would be as if the raccoons have been eaten, you know? Hello, Kayla. Welcome back. Hope all is well with you. Yeah, yeah. But he is driving through Arizona right now, so should be back tomorrow. Well, thank you so much for the heart, Stephanie. Welcome back. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I was like, it's spring. I should wear, something a little less gothy. Not that I'm like really super goth. Castle likes to call me a pastel goth. Because I'm more of like, I guess I lean more towards like a traditional goth, but I'm not like wearing black all the time, but I kind of go for like darker, muted shades. Well, that's okay for us. Life does get in the way sometimes. You were totally allowed to miss some streams. Pastel gauze are a thing too, yeah. It's a bit unnerving to see me this close to the screen. Am I too close? If I make myself smaller, I will be where the chat is. If that makes sense. It gave you a jump scare? I'm sorry. I know, I'm frightening to look at, right? Super sorry. Can you? Sure. No, you don't need to scratch on my chair. Castle's chair, rather. Yeah, Arizona is awful. It's too hot. Okay, let me see where we left off. Okay. I think I will go to where she stopped. I think that sounds about right. Because she was wondering where Fiacha was. Her father's crow. Or raven. Crow. I think it was raven. Okay. Hopefully you can hear me well enough. This is... I guess I could get this a little closer. Okay. Now you can see the microphone. Okay. At last, under the bare-limbed apple trees, we halted. The owl sat above us, perched on a moss-covered branch, silhouetted against the moon. I saw her reach down fussily to adjust her plumage. I felt as if I had been picked up and shaken like a churn of cream, and suddenly set down again. Every bone in my body ached. The woodland around us was still. The mare stood immobile. The owl made no sound. They were waiting for me to do something. I forced my body... Milo! You're gonna fall. And it's gonna be hilarious. Sorry. He's being a little hyper right now, so he's getting into everything. Oh no, Maddie's laptop froze. I forced my body to move, and half slid, half fell from the mare's back to the ground. My legs were like jelly. Sir? What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on. I don't think that's safe. You want me to get the box down for you? Do you want this box? Here you go. Put the box over here. You can play with it, okay? Okay. Sorry. I had this big empty box behind me sitting on another chair, and it was sideways, but he wanted to get in there. So he was falling over. Okay. I stayed on my feet only because my hand still gripped her mane. She stood steady, unperturbed, a rare gift of a horse, this one. Down a gentle slope before us there were more trees, and water glinting silver in the soft light of the moon. And there was another small light as well, a warm, flickering sort of light. I detected a faint smell of something savory in the chill air. Surely it could not be oaten porridge. Then the mare gave a little whickering sound, and from down the hill there was a reply, a soft whinny. I saw a figure rise to his feet beside the glowing campfire, and turn slowly toward me. Leaning heavily against the horse's shoulder, I stumbled forward. Then a lot of things happened quite rapidly, without a single word spoken. Soft running footsteps and a sharp intake of breath, an arm around me supporting my faltering progress to the fireside, a cloak over my shoulders blissfully warm. I could not sit down, my body was too sore. A folded blanket smelling strongly of horse was produced, and I was eased to a half-lying position as close to the fire as was safe. There was a tiny clank of metal, as of a pannikin being used to fill some other vessel. Then a hand curled my frozen fingers around a cup of something hot and fragrant. Tremors coursed through my body. My teeth chattered. I could not have uttered a word even if I had known what to say. Derek busied himself building up the fire, throwing on a log or two, blowing on the coals. The flames licked up. My face began to thaw. I took a sip of the beverage he had provided. It was tea, very hot and very sweet. I had never tasted anything so good. At last Derek settled himself across the fire from me, and looked at me direct. "It's a fine wee mare you have there," he observed. "Learned to ride, I see, since you left me." For a moment I was speechless. Was that all he could think of to say? On second thoughts, it was typical. "Come here. Come here. You want to say hello? Come here." There you go. Milo's come to say hi. "The way I remember it, you left me," I snapped, but my voice came out sounding shivery and pathetic. "But yes, I can ride. A bit. Just as well, I have to be back before dawn." Derek looked at me. "Is that so?" he said. "You don't need to sound like that," I retorted. "Like what, Fanya?" "Like you know best. Like you think I'm stupid for coming here. I don't know why I bothered." A new bout of shivering seized me, and I clutched the cloak tighter around me. Derek watched me in silence for a while. The little gold ring in his ear glinted in the firelight. "Why did you come?" he asked eventually. To tell you something important." Now he was stirring his pannikin over the fire. The savory smell arose again. Peg and Molly and the others always cooked an oaten porridge in the mornings. "Kept out the chill," that was what Peg said. He took the pot off the heat and brought it around to me. "No golden platters here," he said. "No silver spoons. Not used to catering for fine ladies, you see. But the food's good. Come on, Fanya, you must eat." "I'm too tired to eat." "Here," he said gently, and settled himself beside me. "Come here. Don't knock stuff over. Come on." "Hello, Georgia. Welcome in." "Eat, and don't talk." He dipped the horn spoon into a pot, and I found myself opening my mouth and being fed like a bird in the nest. It would have been humiliating, but the cautious expression on his face, the great care with which he went about his task, somehow made it all right between us. Besides, the porridge was delicious, and I discovered I was very hungry indeed. "Good," said Derek from time to time. "Well done. Good girl." And soon enough it was all gone. "I'm sorry," I said, my voice somewhat stronger. "Was that going to be your breakfast?" Derek did not reply. He was sitting close by me, looking into the fire, arms folded. The silence drew out. At length he spoke with some diffidence. Better tell me what it is. You tell me first. Why you came to Glencarna? What you're doing so far from home and in the middle of winter? Aren't you supposed to be working for O'Flaherty? I am. On our way back there now, me and Aoife. He wasn't over keen to let me take the time to come to Seven Waters. I had to get Orla to sweet-talk him. In the end, he said I could go, but I've given my word to be back by the dark of the moon. Not a lot of time. I did my best to take this in. Who's Orla? I asked. Dara glanced at me sideways. O'Flaherty's daughter, the younger one. I see. No, you don't, Vanya. Yes, I do. I suppose she's good with horses, is she? Very good, he said, his teeth gleaming white in the darkness as he grinned. A capable rider for a girl, understands all the tricks. Yes, well, she would, I suppose. And no doubt she's a beauty as well. Oh, yes, said Derek, stretching out his hands to warm them at the fire. Long golden hair, cheeks like roses, eyes blue as a summer sky. Same as her sister. They've suitors lining up from here to across the two of them. He was teasing me. Forget I asked, I said crossly. Now answer the question. Why are you here? I got anxious, worried about you. Seemed to me you might be in trouble and need help. What? No need to sound so shocked. Rode to Seven Waters, was told you were gone. Came on to Glencarna, discovered you'd need no need of me whatever. Now I'm on my way home, simple tale. I made a mistake, not the first. I could not think what to say, so I remained silent. I was starting to feel almost warm at last when the fire and the cloak and the with the fire and the cloak and the porridge. My body felt better, for all the aching and the shivering. It was my mind that didn't seem to be working very well. All I could think of was how short one night was, and how many things there were to say, and how every time I opened my mouth, it was the wrong words that came out. Vanya? His voice was gentle in the darkness. Tell me. Tell me what's wrong. Why would you ride all the way out in the dark to find me? What is it? What can be so important that you near let yourself freeze to death? His kindness came close to overwhelming me. It all flooded back. My father, grandmother and the amulet, Maeve and the fire, Eamon. I longed to tell him everything, every part of it, to unburden myself of my guilt and my fear. But I could not. He must stay outside it. I must keep him outside it. I came to tell you to go home and never come back, I said flatly. You mustn't come back, Derek. You mustn't try to see me again. It's important. There was a pause. You rode out here in the dark to tell me this. Yes, it's what must be, believe me. I see, he said tightly. No, you don't. I could not disguise the misery in my tone. You don't see it all, but we are friends, despite everything. I must ask you to trust me and do my bidding. He narrowed his eyes at me. Tell me, what's this fellow to you, the Lord of Glencarna? Unpleasant piece of work, that one. What's he to you? None of your business. What did he say to you? Sent me on my way, quick smart. Suggested an armed escort to the border. And me a traveling man. I declined his kind offer. He told me no, I couldn't see you, today or tomorrow or any day in the year. Said you were there as his very special guest, and you are not to be disturbed. Riff-raff such as myself should know better than to pester a lady. Words to that effect. Made me wish for a moment or two that I was a fighter, not a musician. What does that mean, Fanya? Very special guest. I'm sorry he treated you thus. My voice was shaking. I was ill, indisposed. I did not know you were there. And are you happy to let this fellow make your decisions for you? content to have him choose your friends. I did not answer. Vanya, look at me. I turned my face toward his. He seemed very pale and very serious. Would you wed this man? Is that what it is? Tell me the truth. It's none of your business, I whispered. Oh, yes, it is. Now tell me. Reluctantly, I nodded. It's not impossible. A bit old for you, isn't he? Said Derek bluntly. Such a match is not unheard of. It's the woman's age that is more important, surely, if a man wants to get an heir. Derek never got angry. That was one of his good things about him. I thought he came close to it then. His jaw tightened, but he kept his voice calm. So, you would wed for a name and a fortune. You would bear an old man's sons for that? You wouldn't understand. Try me. You couldn't understand. Derek was silent for a moment. Then he observed. Told me that plain enough before, didn't you? Something about a stray dog, I think it was. I spoke without thinking that time. I'm sorry if I hurt you. But this is something I cannot explain to you. I'm simply asking you to stay away, that's all. Oh, but I ached to tell him the truth. He waited a little. As the night wore on, the air about us was growing colder and colder. Now the small fire, the warm cloak, were not enough to take away the frozen feeling which seemed to come from deep inside me. I thought if I were able to weep, my tears would turn to drops of ice before they ever could fall from my eyes. Do you love this fellow? Asked Derek flatly, not looking at me anymore. Love, I exclaimed, sitting up in my shock and suppressing a groan of pain. Of course not. Love has nothing to do with this. Who'd wed for love, anyway? That's just foolishness. There's nothing in such a match but sorrow and waste. I thought of my mother and my father, and how both their lives had been destroyed by the bond between them. Then you'd advise my sister Royson not to wed Aidan, would you? They have plans for a wedding in the autumn, when she's 17. Aidan has his own little bit of land now. You think they'd best not go ahead with it? I scowled at him. That's different, I said. How different? You mean because they're simple folk, unlike yourself and your great lord back there? Of course not. I thought you knew me better than that. So did I, said Derek mildly. But you keep surprising me. It's different because I can't tell you, but it is. Uh-huh, said Derek. We sat in silence for a while. The cold seemed to come in from all sides. The only parts of me that were even warm were my hands, which I was holding out close to the fire. The rest of me ached with the chill, not to speak of the damage the ride had caused. I thought vaguely of how I must climb back onto the horse before dawn and do it all again. Derek sat with his hands around his knees, looking into the flames. He was solemn, not his smiling self at all. Hello, Pint Goblin. You didn't miss a whole lot. Vanya has been speaking with Derek. They clearly do not have an understanding of one another. But hello, Moan Brida. Welcome. Will you calm down now? Derek sat with his hands around his knees, looking into the flames. He was solemn, not his smiling self at all. You haven't convinced me, he said. Convinced you of what? You missed it. What do you mean, come in? You missed the notification? That you're all right. That you don't need keeping an eye on. I don't believe it for an instant. Your words are giving me one story and your eyes another. Come on now, you can tell me. There's no secrets between us, you and me. What is it that's troubling you so badly? Nothing. My voice quavered, despite my best efforts. Nothing. I'm just telling you, go away and never come back here. And what will you do when I'm gone? Put on the amulet and finish my grandmother's work so I can keep you safe. Ride back to Glencarna. And be in my chamber before they know I was gone, I told him. Get on with my life. That's no concern of yours. I have another suggestion, Derek offered. I said nothing. We wait until dawn, and then I put you up on Aoife, and the two of us go home to Kerry. That's what we'll do. The simple confidence of this took my breath away, and for a moment I was unable to reply. Longing swept over me. If only I could say yes. If only I could go home, back to the honeycomb and to my father. Back to the time when it all made sense, and the worst thing in my life was having to wait through the winter till Dan Walker's folk returned to the cove. But I could not go. If I were not wearing my grandmother's amulet at dawn, she would appear at my side, angry and seeking answers. And once I wore the amulet, she could see me, whenever she chose. To go back to Kerry was death for my father, and for Derek. Not to work my grandmother's will was an end for all of us. I can't, I said. Besides, what about O'Flaherty and his horses? Haven't you a job to go back to? What about Orla? Derek threw a stick into the fire. Forget O'Flaherty, he said. Don't concern yourself with that. I'm offering to take you home. You're tired, you're scared. You don't rightly know which way to turn. I shouldn't think your father would be happy to see you thus. I forced myself to speak. I can't go back. My voice was as cold as the chill that numbed my heart and froze my unshed tears. You must go. You and Aoife. I must stay here. I know what I'm doing, Derek. Then he said nothing for a long time, and as the silence drew out, I began to yawn, and my eyelids began to close, despite the cold, and I thought dimly that it was rather a long time since I had slept. But I must not allow myself to sleep. I still had a ride back to Glencarna. I still had to. Here, said Derek. He found another blanket, not much more than a strip of sacking, perhaps used to keep Aoife warm, for, like the other, it smelled strongly of horse. Best rest a while. You're weary to death. Come on, lie down, and I'll cover you up. I can't, I protested through my convulsive yawns. Told you, back by dawn. It's a long way. Aoife's quick, said Derek. We'll have you back in plenty of time. I'll wake you. No, you don't understand. Yes, I do, Fanya. But the blanket felt good. So good. I put my head down and closed my eyes, even as I mumbled my protest. Hush now, said Derek. I'll keep watch for you. Rest now. Sleep rolled over me like a great wave, sudden and unstoppable. Once or twice I half woke, aware of the winter cold that pierced through blanket and cloak and gown alike, to touch the very spirit with its frosty fingers. Aware that I was trembling and shivering again, despite the still glowing coals and my efforts to curl up on myself as tight as possible. And then suddenly I was warm, wonderfully warm, and I was safe and well, and somewhere in the back of my mind the sun was shining down on the sparkling water of the cove, and it was summer. Later still I stirred again, knowing the night was passing, but unwilling to wake fully, lest this fair vision be lost forever. There was an arm across me, holding the cloak around me, and the same old blanket covered the two of us. Derek lay behind me, his body curled neatly against my own, his living warmth a part of me, his slow, peaceful breathing steady against my hair. I kept quite still. I did not allow myself to return to full consciousness. I thought, if it all ended right now, I wouldn't mind a bit. Let it end now, so I need never wake. And I slipped back into sleep. How late are you? I've only been on for about 35 minutes. And we chatted for a little bit to let people trickle in, so you've really just missed the interactions with Derek and Fanya, and she was just trying to tell him, don't come back. Don't seek me out again, because she knows that her grandfather won't hesitate, not her grandfather, her grandmother won't hesitate to kill him as punishment to her. Well, no one needs to see my face. Fine, I'll move it. Is that better? I take it that you aren't driving right now. The reveal! Yeah, super exciting. Thank you, Rain. Appreciate it. Girly. I hugged the blanket around me and screwed my eyes shut. Vanya, wake up, sweetheart. I put the blanket over my face. Vanya, come on now. I blinked and stretched and gave a groan. I sat up with some difficulty. It was still dark. Across the fire, Derek was moving about, and I could see that Aphie wore her saddlebags and the folded blanket on her back. The gray mare stood by her. What? Oh, her horse. The gray mare stood by her quietly. The brightness faded from my mind as if it had never been. I tried to get to my feet. It wasn't easy. The ride had done me more harm than I realized. Derek. I meant what I said. Go back to O'Flattery's. I'll ride to Glencarna by myself. Stop saying that. My voice was as weak and wobbly as a weeping child's. What was wrong with me? You can't come. I'll go by myself. Let's see you walk over here, then. That's not fair. I took a step, and pain lanced up my back. I can go. I will go. Sit down, Fanya. If you insist on going back, Aphie and I will take you. I told you. Why won't you listen to me? I protested, sinking awkwardly to the ground again, for my legs would not carry me. You cannot come. You cannot be seen with me. Not at Glencarna. Not anywhere. Embarrass you, does it, to be seen in company with a traveling man? He had his back to me, tending to the mare. Of course not. You might be stupid enough to try to ride. I might let you, because I was tired of fighting with you. But you can't ride this mare all the way to Glencarna. She's old, and she's gone a long way for you tonight. She's not fit to carry you back, not in the dark. I'll take you. Don't worry, I won't shame you by showing my face before the great man himself. Wouldn't want to spoil your prospects now, would I? I said nothing. What was the point? I would do what I must do, and every moment of it I would thank the goddess that he was far away in the west, and could not see me. Every day I would give thanks that I had been granted this one chance to send him away safe from my grandmother's eyes. But I needed his help to get back to Glencarna. I would have to accept it this once. Well now, he said pleasantly after a while. We'd best be off. I'm sorry, I said in a small voice. For what? Sorry that I made the mare go so far in the dark, in the cold. Sorry I tired her out. I didn't think. All I thought about was... Don't trouble yourself with that, said Derek. She's a little weary, but nothing a rest in a warm stable won't mend. Not used to such excitement, poor old thing. But she's a sound creature. Don't fret over her. She'll make her way back easy enough, following Aphie's tracks. Seems to me you've enough troubling you already without adding to it. Then he lifted me onto Aphie's back, and got up behind me, and we set off into the night. It was a strange ride, silent for the most part, and quicker than my journey here, for Aphie moved both swiftly and smoothly, with little apparent need for directions. In her wake the grey mare followed, some distance behind. At one stage Derek said, There's an owl there, following or leading. Do you see it? Puts me in mind of that raven that's always near your father, wherever he goes, like a guardian. I nodded in the darkness. Another of the same kind, I said. I see. Vanya. I was refusing to let my mind go forward beyond the moment, beyond the pony's steady pace, and the white gleam of her coat under the moon, and Derek sitting behind me with his arm around my waist, and his own warmth flowing into me, thawing the chill in my heart. I felt safe. I thought foolishly I would hold on to this as long as I can, for this will be the very last time. I know you won't come with me. I know you won't go back to Kerry. You told me I'm not welcome here, but... But what? I wish you would heed an old friend's advice. I wish you would at least not stay at Glencarna. You'd be safer back at Seven Waters. There's good folk there. Your uncle's a fine man. My father has great respect for him, and for all that family. And you should take your time before you make any choices. You're young yet. You have all the time in the world. Oh no, I haven't. I have until summer. No more than that. My fate is measured out over 2 seasons. But I can buy a longer span for you. Finished? I asked him. He did not reply. Not so long ago you were advising me to find a husband, and we are a brood of children, I seem to recall, I told him. Now you're telling me to wait. Which is it to be? Don't mock me, Fanya. If you must wed, at least choose a kind man. I was silenced. Somehow he had a knack of saying the simplest things and turning me to joy or misery on the instant. We rode on, and I thought I could see the very slightest lightening of the sky, as if dawn were not so very far off. The frost began to creep into my spirit once more, as if the best and truest friend in the world no longer had the power to stay its icy fingers. Derek, I said quietly, and even to me my voice sounded strange, as if I were fighting tears. But my eyes were dry. I was a sorcerer's daughter and strong. I would not weep. Yes. If you knew the things I have done, you would not want to be my friend. If you knew, you would understand why I ask you to go away from me. Terrible things. Evil things that don't bear speaking of. Why don't you tell me and let me judge? My heart gave a thud of alarm. I can't tell you. I could guess. No, you couldn't. Nobody could guess. It is beyond the imagination of ordinary folk. Just believe that you are better off well away from me. Please believe that. Aphie moved steadily forward, and now there was a distinct grayness to the sky, a change in the pattern of shadows around us. I could guess, said Derek again. His hand was relaxed on the reins, his arm around me steady and sure. There was a fire, Auntie told me. A man died and another was hurt. A child was injured. Freak accident. You're always good with making fires. I said nothing. You're right, that was a terrible thing to happen. You might persuade me without too much trouble that you had something to do with it. You'll never convince me that you'd do such a thing on purpose. Hurt the innocent, take the life of a holy man. That I'll never believe. There's more, I whispered. Derek waited. That girl in the cove, the fisher girl, the one who disappeared. Remember that? He was silent. Every word was a trial. I forced them out one by one, my heart hammering. I used the craft, Derek. Used it wrongly. I changed her, and she died. Something went wrong, and she died. I never told anyone until now. After that, surely you cannot be my friend. And now he would go, gladly. He would despise me and leave me, and I would not have to worry any more, because he would be safe. Too bad if this hurt. Too bad if it felt like a knife in the heart, twisting and turning. I could never suffer enough to make up for the things I had done, and the things I must go on doing. She was a good little lass, said Derek quietly. We came down a gentle slope, and between tall elms, and there in the dawning light was the long, low house of Glencarna, and there, not so far away at all, were 2 guards in green tunics with weapons at their belts. Davy halted. You must go now, I hissed. Leave me here. I'll make my own way to the house. You've come too far already. Behind me, Derek did not move. Derek, I whispered urgently. The sky was growing ever lighter. I must be back indoors with the amulet around my neck before day. That was what I had promised grandmother. And Derek must be gone before we are seen. I feared Eamon's anger. At last Derek stirred, slipping from the pony's back, reaching up to help me down. My legs were unsteady, and he held me by the arms, frowning as he scrutinized my face in the pale pre-dawn light. Maybe I'll ride to Kerry myself and fetch your father, he muttered. Maybe that's what I'll do. No, I gasped. No, don't do that. Just go. Just go and leave me. How plain do I have to put it to make you understand? You need looking after. That's what I always said. And it hasn't changed. You're mixed up in something that's too big for you. It's not right, Vanya. I took a deep breath. Don't be stupid, I said, and I made my voice as cold as I could. This is quite simple. I want to forget you. I want to wipe every trace of you from my mind. I wish you would go away and I would never see you again. Believe this. It's the truth. Derek went very white, and he took his hands slowly away from where they held me. I found I could stand without support, just. His gaze remained steady on my face. His brown eyes, looking into mine, were deeply searching. Give me your hand, he said. I opened my mouth to argue, but found instead that I was putting my hand out, and he was taking it in his own. We both looked down. I don't believe you, he said again, and released my hand. No, it's almost dawn and you'd better go in. Won't those guards see you? I shook my head. There are ways of doing these things. He frowned. I don't like this, Vanya. I don't like to leave you here. I said nothing. We stared at each other for a moment, and then I made to move away. Well then, said Derek gently, and his hand reached out to brush a wayward lock of hair back from my face. His fingers lingered by my temple and withdrew. Farewell, Curly. Keep out of trouble. Now until... No, I exclaimed. Don't say it. You cannot come back. Never, you understand? Never. And I turned away from him, fleeing as fast as my bruised body could carry me beneath the shadows of the elms, casting the spell as I went so the guards would see nothing but a trick of the dawn light, the merest trace of movement against the pattern of bushes and long grass. And I never looked back, not once. I ran past the hedge and across the garden. I slipped in by the kitchen door and away along the passage and into my chamber, where the fire was out and the candle reduced to a misshapen lump of wax. The air was bitter cold, but not as cold as the deathly chill that gripped my heart. I slipped the little ring off my finger and thrust it away deep in the chest under the silken shawl. I would never wear either again. Then I took out my grandmother's amulet, the triangle of strangely worked bronze, and I sought for a cord or ribbon, any means by which I might put it around my neck, for I would not risk her return. Not while Derek still travelled within the boundaries of Glencarna. Once I wore the amulet. She was secure in her control of me. I need only perform her will, and my dear ones would be safe. I remembered something. A cord. A strange one, that had adorned my doll, Riona. I had removed it for safekeeping, and the little white stone that went with it. Where had I put that? In the pocket of a gown, I seem to recall. The russet-colored gown. It had been here, folded in the chest. Yes, there it was. A strong cord woven of many fibers, so strong it seemed unbreakable. Its ends bound with leather. Before I had found it difficult to untie. Now, curiously, the knot unfastened with ease. It seemed this thing which had been my mother's was not unwilling to bear such a perilous charm. I placed the small white stone away in the chest and strung the bronze triangle in its place. As I fastened the cord about my neck, I found I was whispering, "Sorry. I'm so sorry." The amulet felt lighter now. Is it the cord which bore it with of far stronger stuff than the one which had frayed and broken under such an ill burden? Perhaps even in the darkest times, my mother's spirit watched over me. I shuddered. Better that she did not watch. Better that she did not know I was my grandmother's tool once more. For it seemed to me that from this moment on, my steps would follow the sorceress's path, and my tale would be her tale. And that's the end of chapter 8. And I'm still doing okay, so we can keep reading. Thank you, Gunnar. And it is true. We are hardly ever apart, so it was difficult with him being gone. Yes, I know. I actually message him several times every day while he's been gone. Thank you. Okay, chapter 9. My coffee got cold. Sad. Okay. I think she's probably going to start getting into the nitty-gritty. Chapter 9. I knew what to do. It was a matter of discipline. Control the will and concentrate the mind. Focus the energy on the task and let nothing get in the way. It should have been thus from the moment I climbed onto Dan Walker's cart and left the shores of Kerry. It was what I should have done in the Forest of Seven Waters. Instead of letting the little girl slip under my guard and establish a place in my heart, against all sense. It was how I should have protected myself, instead of listening to a druid, and heeding the tales of those called themselves Old Ones. Well, thank you very much, Yofer. I'm glad you're enjoying it. There was a strategy to be followed, and its first step was Eamon. Eamon was not so difficult, I told myself as I washed and dressed with unusual attention to detail, frowning at my ghost-white face and shadowed eyes in the mirror. At least I did not care about him, I thought, as I gave my hair 100 hard brushes and plaited it up on top of my head so I would look older, 17 at least. It was just a matter of remembering what to do, and why I was doing it. Think of my grandmother's voice saying, "He'd as likely be murdered by the road for his little pack of cheap goods." Think of that and do her bidding with the sure hand of a sorceress. I ventured out, knowing it was late, and questions would be asked if I did not appear for a second day in a row. I was tired and cold and covered with bruises. I did not look as a girl should look, who had been resting for a whole day and night. A little pallor was one thing, the appearance of complete exhaustion quite another. At least I was tidy, and I would not use the glamour. If I must do this, I would do it as myself. I was lucky. The girls were nowhere to be seen, and I found Eamon alone, frowning over documents in very small script, as he sat in an antechamber, where tall, narrow windows caught the cold sunlight of this winter morning. I stood in the doorway watching, thinking his face seemed worn and lined in the unforgiving light, noting his brown hair was touched with gray at the temples, reminding myself that I must learn that people were pieces in a game, no more, no less. I made no sound, but suddenly he was aware of me and sprang to his feet, almost as if on guard against an enemy. "Good morning," I said politely. "I'm sorry if I startled you." "Not at all." He recovered quickly, coming forward to guide me to a bench by the small fire. It was deathly cold. The tapestries stirred in the draught. I could not suppress the shiver. "Come, sit here," said Eamon. "You're still not well. Have you eaten?" I shook my head, and immediately a serving woman was summoned and dispatched, and bread and cold fowl and an ale jug were brought on a tray and set by my side. The woman was dismissed. The door was closed. "Please," I said, "I have disturbed you at your work. Please go on. Ignore me. I will be quiet, or if you wish I can take this elsewhere." I did not intend. Eamon gave a grim little smile. "Not at all. I am making slow progress with this. The task is not to my liking, and I cannot concentrate today. The interruption is welcome. Besides, I was just about to send a woman along to see how you were. Here, let me pour this for you." I waited silently while he did so, thinking of Derek's fingers warm around my own, remembering him feeding me like a child. "There," said Eamon. "I've been concerned, Fanya. We did not have the pleasure of your company yesterday." "As you see, I'm quite well now." I sipped the ale and crumbled the bread between my fingers. Eamon was unusually hesitant. "I did wonder if your indisposition was a result of... I thought perhaps I had offended you, distressed you. My behavior was not altogether appropriate, I realized that." I looked up at him. "It was not so much your behavior as it was what you said. I was somewhat upset, it's true. But as you see, I am recovered now." "Then I did offend you. I regret that." He sounded sincere enough. He had seated himself on the bench opposite and was scrutinizing me closely. I sipped the ale. In fact, I was quite hungry, for the oaten porridge had not gone far. But a hearty appetite was at odds with the picture I wished to create. I left the bread. "We must discuss this," said Eamon, his tone less than enthusiastic. "Still, I scarcely know where to begin." I glanced up at him. He looked like a man who had gone without sleep, and I sensed the scrolls strewn on the table were the least of his worries. "You mentioned compromise," I reminded him. "I believe that's possible between us. But we won't speak of this morning. I am still weary, and you appear somewhat distracted. If I might make a suggestion." "By all means." "Perhaps I might remain here quietly for a while. No need to speak of what occurred between us. I have some needlework with me. I will eat and drink and occupy myself with that, for the light is good in this chamber, and I wish for no company but yours this morning. You can get on with your work, as if I were not here. Later, after supper, perhaps we might speak of other matters." For a few moments he stared at me in silence. Then he said, "There was a fellow here asking for you yesterday. Rough sort of man. Rode straight in demanding to see you, and reluctant to take no for an answer." He was frowning. I exerted the utmost control over my features, and kept my voice calm. "Really? Fine pony he had with him. Too good a piece of horseflesh for such riffraff. Pure white. Fellow said he knew you from Kerry." "It would have been one of the traveling folk, I suppose. They brought me north to Seven Waters." "Unusual arrangement," Eamon said, scowling. "Maybe, but safer in its way for a girl traveling alone than a more obvious escort. Folk let the travelers by unhindered. This man is related to a woman in my Uncle Sean's household, that is all." "And what is this fellow to you, Fanya?" He was very persistent, foolishly so. He seemed slow to understand when I ordered him off my land. "What's he to you?" And all of a sudden there was a note in his voice, and a look in his eye that made me very uncomfortable indeed. I remembered that this was the man who had nurtured his jealous resentment for 18 years or more. This was the man who had said, "A man who takes what is mine pays in kind." I did not like that look, but my grandmother's voice was saying, yes, oh yes, play on that. I attempted a sweetly dismissive laugh. Him, nothing at all. They're good folk, but simple. They have a habit of dropping in, asking after the welfare of a friend, riding away again. It means little. Friend? Surely a lady would not be classed as friend by such as this, a tinker's boy no more. There's no harm in it, I said offhand. Besides, I am not so much of a lady. You recognize that yourself. Do not deny it. A man in your position could not consider such a girl as a wife, after all. A girl whose parentage is, at the very least, irregular. A girl brought up in isolation, knowing more of books and learning than the ways of a fine household. Vanya, I broke my own rules. I'll tell you what we'll do. You'll sit down and continue deciphering that very small script. I'll eat what you have kindly provided for me, and get on with my sewing. And we won't talk. Not until later. Agreed. Eamon gave a wry smile, and retreated to his seat at the table. Somehow, he observed, I feel I am not being consulted here so much as instructed. This is not pleasing to you? I inquired, my brows raised in imitation of my grandmother's style. I didn't say that. I finished my breakfast and applied myself to needle and thread. I was just as well my grandmother had taught me how to sew. Perhaps the quality of my stitchery might not have satisfied her, but at least I was able to make a suitable picture of domestic competence. And the light was good. This man had spoken of white skin and red hair, as if both pleased him. I sat exactly where the winter sun would touch my pale cheeks with its brightness. I knew its rays would catch the burning flame of my hair and turn it into a dazzling halo. I concentrated on my work, my fingers moving industriously. I knew without looking that Eamon's eyes were fixed more often on me than on the documents before him. Time passed in total silence. All too soon the sun moved across the sky, and the best of the light was gone. It was not so long until midwinter. For a moment I allowed myself to think of Derek, and Aethie carrying him back westward across the miles to Kenamara. He would return to O'Flaherty's and settle, and perhaps he would wed Orla and raise a brood of small dark-haired sons and beautiful blue-eyed daughters. All of them would swim like a fish, and ride as if born in the saddle. He would have his sister close by when she married Aidan. Their existence would be simple and happy and full of purpose. He lived to see his children grow. Vanya. I flinched as if struck, and wrenched myself back from my dangerous thoughts. I must not do that again. I must concentrate. I queried, finishing my thread with a neat little knot, and biting the end off. Nothing. Forget I spoke. You broke the rules, I said lightly, folding my work. No talking. Still, I finished this task. Perhaps I should go. Don't. It is pleasing to me to have you sit thus quietly while I work. It seems strange, yet in its way fitting. I used to dream that it would be so I used to imagine how it would be if I were a married man. How different it might be. There was a picture in my mind of riding home to Shidoof, and... No, this is not appropriate. I should not speak thus to you. Tell me, I said quietly. He stood up and came over to stand by me, staring out the tall, narrow window at the winter landscape. Bare elms, a well-dug garden awaiting planting. You will think me foolish, he said, soft. No, I won't, Eamon. I would not judge you. He glanced down at me, his expression bleak. Then you understand. I thought I would wed and sire sons as any man does. It was at that time I first encountered the Painted Man, that spawn of evil who was to become my lifelong nemesis. I did not know then that he would snatch from me all that I held dear, that he would seize my very hope of the future and take for his own. Then I still believed my life would be like any other man's. And I felt the darkness of that man's influence begin to enter my spirit. I saw a small picture, like the one pure image that would remain true. My wife standing in the doorway at Chi Douve, with my child in her arms. That was my reassurance that things would be as they should be. I said nothing. Foolish thoughts for an old man, observed Eamon bitterly. That's what you think. It was Leodin you saw, of course. Of course, but he took her. It was his sons she bore. Her sons should have been mine. This seemed an extraordinary thing to say, so much so I could scarcely frame a response. We said we would not speak of these things until later, I managed. Why would you choose to tell me this? Eamon was avoiding my eye. Still, he stared out the window, watching a man go down the path with a pitchfork over his shoulder and a pair of dogs at his heels. I don't know, he said after a while. I suppose, watching you there across the room in the quiet, I felt a sense of rightness, of the way my life might have been if things were different. I said nothing. I did not wish to speak of this, I have told you, despite myself. It is folly and weakness. One cannot recapture something that never was. I rose to my feet. I'm going now, I said quietly. I must see the little girls, and then I should rest again. The ride to the waterfall caused me more aches and pains than I would have imagined. That was very thoughtless of me. Eamon frowned, staring at me. Very thoughtless. Nothing to worry about, I said lightly. After supper, perhaps we might play at Brandov again, and talk further of these things. I don't think, perhaps we might. My tone was firm. And before then, I want you to consider one question. He waited. The question is, I said carefully, what is it you need to do before you can move on? What is it you are waiting for before you seize hold of your life and ensure your return home will be greeted with open arms and a warm hearth and the laughter of children? What ghost is it that you need to lay before you do this? You cannot, I said. I already have. I have asked the question and I want the answer. I will not speak further of these things. They are best left untouched. I don't think so, I said. You have lived but half a life. You throw away the rest. Then your enemy has indeed conquered you. Now I'm going. Will you do something for me? He inclined his head courteously, but his jaw was tight. Put your hands behind your back, I said, and shut your eyes until I say. Startled into compliance, he did as I asked. I placed my palms on either side of his face and felt tension grip his body. Eyes shut, I said sternly. Then I forced myself to kiss him, a kiss which began as the sweet touching of lips one might expect from an innocent young girl such as myself. But grandmother had taught me many things. I knew how to make this kiss change, with a slight parting of the lips and a little flicking of the tongue into something more, something which would make a man's blood race and his breathing quicken as Eamon's did now. I waited for the moment when he could no longer manage to hold his hands behind his back, and at that moment I withdrew my lips and stepped away. Vanya, he breathed, staring at me. What are you trying to do to me? Nothing, I replied in round-eyed surprise. Yeah. Thank you for letting me know, Maddie. I'm sorry, Kemi. I missed it. I am super sorry. I need to see how I can fix it. My bad. Goodness. Hopefully that works. Maiko Raids, thank you so much, Maiko Psycho, for the raid, and welcome in. We will pretend that a Viking horn is going off in your honor, because I don't have the skill to do it. So instead I will greet you, and wish you well on this evening. I hope that you had a good stream. Yeah, but I don't really have them ready on hand to just play them. I haven't set that up yet. Blue is a Viking raspberry. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you. Hopefully the TikTok people can make their way back. I feel bad that I missed the little slider. I never get the TikTok notifications for people that I follow, so I know it's kind of hard to let people know that we're back up. But hopefully they can make their way back. But thank you, Kemian, for going over to Twitch to let me know. I totally missed that. Milo's too big to fit on the chair. So he's got his legs up on me and then his head's hanging off the side. City baby. Well, we know that Eamon is bad news. Yes, this is my bean soup. This is my bean soup. Welcome back, Yofer. Sorry I lost the live. I didn't notice. That was totally my fault. Welcome to the tavern. What is that? Mopley? Those are two L's, right? Mopley? Welcome in. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Of course, of course. It does happen, unfortunately. I wish they gave more time to like take care of the little activity notification. Yes, Maiko Psycho was shouted out. Hello, Vortex. Hello. Welcome in. We have technically been reading for... It's been an hour and 20 minutes since I started, so we've probably been reading for about an hour. That would definitely help. I wish they would change that, but yeah. Okay, let me see where it was. We have Fanya trying to seduce Eamon because she knows that's the only thing that's going to appease her grandmother. Which is uncomfortable because we know Eamon is a jerk. I wished only to show you that I, too, believe compromise is possible. By the way, if in the future you have difficulty with your reading, I would be able to help you. I'm well practiced at it, and my eyes are younger. I turned my back and left the room, and Eamon said not a word. It wasn't easy. I despised myself for what I was doing. I shuddered to imagine what Derek would think if he could see me. My father had always let me find my own path and make my own mistakes. But this would have shocked him deeply. Oh, you've been reading with me? That's very nice. Still, I found the strength within me to go on. There was a little image of my father coughing blood. There was another, Derek and Aoife moving on into the west and away from danger. And what about the little girls? each one of them different, each one in her own precious way. Or each one on her own way precious. They had given me their trust without question. I could not expose them to my grandmother's destructive anger. I need only think of that, and if it was not, after all, so very difficult to go on. I spent a little time with the girls. They were unusually subdued. Eilish showed me her sewing. The twins sprawled on the rug before the fire. And Sybil sat by the window, as still and silent as if she were a girl carven of pale stone. "Very good, Eilish," I said. "Your mother would be proud of you. I'm sorry I could not help with this yesterday. I've been ill." "I helped her," said Deirdre with a touch of smugness. "You were shut in here all day. You didn't even answer the door. What's wrong with you?" "A very bad headache. I'm better now." "You don't look better," observed Clodagh. "Your face is white, and you've got bags under your eyes. We thought maybe you'd had a fight with Uncle Eamon." "Uncle Eamon's in a really bad mood," said Deirdre. I did not reply. Better that I spend less time with them from now on. Better that I step away as quickly as I could, even if it hurt them. To stay close was to put them in danger. Besides, they were getting altogether too clever at puzzling things out. "You missed him," said Clodagh into the silence. "Derek. He was here and you missed him." "So I heard," I said tightly. "We never thought they were real." Deirdre lay on the floor, head propped on one hand, looking up at me where I sat by Eilish on the bed. "Him and the white pony. Not really real, just a boy and a pony and a tail, having adventures. But they were. He let us pat Aoife. He said he'd been to Seven Waters, and then he had to leave again. He saw Maeve. Did you know that? He said she was getting better." Clodagh was holding a twig into the fire, letting it catch. "Can we go home, Fanya?" Suddenly it was very quiet in the room. All four of them were looking at me intently. "Soon," I said. "Very soon. I have to talk to your Uncle Eamon again first. I'll ask him what he thinks, if you like." Clodagh glanced at Deirdre, and an unspoken message passed between them. "He'll say no," said Clodagh. "He'll want you to stay at Glencarna, and you could hardly stay without us. You should have seen him yesterday when Derek was here. He was furious." "Derek was nice," observed Eilish. "He let me give the pony a carrot." "Don't you mind," Clodagh asked, "that you missed him?" I drew a deep breath. "It was a shame," I said as firmly as I could. "But I wasn't well enough to see anyone, not even an old friend. Your Uncle Eamon did the right thing." I could feel Sybil watching me, even though she was behind me, but she kept quiet. I am finishing up reading Good Wives by Louisa May Alcott. That's a nice one. Been a while since I've read one of her novels. "If you say so," said Clodagh in a tone of complete disbelief. When they had gone, I tried to rest, but could not. It came to me that day that the fair visions I had seen while I lay by the little fire, with Derek's arm around me and the warmth of his body against my own, were the last good dreams that would ever visit me. Now, as soon as I dropped into a half-doze, images crowded my mind. My mother stepping from a ledge and falling with her bright hair whipped by the wind, and the rocks below reaching up in anticipation of one final ungiving embrace. My father chalk-pale, retching blood. Derek lying by the road with a knife in his back, and Aoife nudging him gently, her faithful eyes bewildered when he failed to wake. And later more pictures which seemed to me to tell of things that were to come, or that might come. A girl sobbing and sobbing, eyes screwed shut, tears flooding down her cheeks, nose running, mouth stretched in a rictus of anguish. Her dark red curls and milk-pale skin revealing her as myself, as if I had not known already. I had seen this before. Words came with the picture. You will not know how much you have to lose until it is already gone. And then, a sudden darkening as if the whole world had gone awry, and day turned to night by the force of this grief. Men muttering and crying out of fear. And a great wave, a wall of water from nowhere, a surge so high one looked up and recognized death, even as one snatched a last shuddering breath. I will sweep you bare, bare, I will take it all. I noticed at supper that Eamon had changed his clothes and that his hair, like my own, bore signs of careful brushing. I observed the serious dark brown eyes, the square, uncompromising features, the way one lock of hair kept falling across his brow. I thought that once, a long time ago, he must have been a fine-looking young man, one whom a girl might have well thought highly suitable for a husband. When one considered his wealth and the position of power he held, it was hard to imagine my Aunt Leodin rejecting him for another man, especially one as unappealing as her strange husband sounded. It did not seem to make sense. I considered what kind of woman she was, to treat a faithful suitor so cruelly, that his whole existence had been blighted by it. Then I told myself again that I must remember men and women were just pieces in the game, to be manipulated to advantage. It was not appropriate for me to feel sympathy for the solemn, pale, middle-aged man seated silent across the table from me, eating little, drinking steadily. It was not appropriate for me to feel anything at all. "Good girl," said my grandmother's voice. We finished our meal. The platters were cleared, and the wine brought. Eamon instructed the serving man that we were on no account whatever to be disturbed. There were 2 carven chairs by the fire, with a small table between. The box with the brand of pieces, the elaborately patterned board stood there readily. "You wish to play?" queried Eamon as he settled himself opposite me. Not this game, I thought. Maybe not tonight. I don't think I'd be able to concentrate very well. Won't your folk jump to a certain conclusion if the door is closed and they are told to keep away? Whatever good reputation I may have had will be forever gone. Eamon regarded me levelly. As you see, I did not bolt the door, nor will I. You are under no threat from me, Fanya. I am not a seducer, whatever opinion you may have formed. My memory of your behavior the other day does not quite support what you say. I have apologized for that, and I do again. I don't know what came over me. I raised my brows. I could hazard a guess. You have not made it particularly easy for me. This morning, I am at a loss to understand what it is you want from me. He poured wine into my goblet, refilled his own. The wine was very strong, with a mellow flavor that spoke of sun-drenched hillsides and meadow flowers. I sipped cautiously, conscious I must keep all of my wits about me. First things first, I said. Have you an answer to my question? For it seems to me, if the 2 of us are to move on in any way whatever, the past must be dealt with, and I can help you with that, believe it. I cannot see how, Fanya. Eamon stared into his wine cup as if it might hold the answer to some puzzle. With all the goodwill in the world... Oh, sorry, it's still Eamon. With all the goodwill in the world, you are, after all, very young and quite inexperienced. You could scarcely comprehend what lies between me and Leodin. Her and others. You said it yourself. That you had been brought up in isolation away from the halls of men. You could not conceive of the evil things that have taken place. You are innocent. How could you help me? I see. I rose to my feet. Then there's no point at all in this, is there? I may as well return to Seven Waters. The girls have been asking when we can go home. I'll tell them that we can leave in the morning. No. Eamon was up in an instant, and I felt hand close around my arm. No, that was not what I meant. Please, sit down, Fanya. Difficult, isn't it? I asked quietly when I was seated again, and he had unclamped his fingers from where they gripped me and returned to his place. You don't understand what I want, and I have no idea what you want. I'm not sure you know that yourself. Why don't you start by answering the question I gave you?" Eamon did not reply. His jaw was tight, as if he clenched his teeth hard to keep words back. "You dismiss my question?" I queried. "You think it— what is that word you favor? Inappropriate." His lips stretched into a smile completely without mirth. "It was appropriate enough. I suspect you could give me the answer." "Maybe, but I want you to give it." Another silence. "Hello, Matthew." Oh, we have ads? Why? Oh, I need to bring up my Twitch dashboard. Here we go. Are the ads still going on right now? Okay. All right, we can take a short break for the ads. Sorry, we have ads over on Twitch, so we can only avoid people missing stuff if we take just a little break while they're running. Milo, silly baby. Here, why don't you lay on me so you're not falling off? This is called Child of the Prophecy by Juliette Marier. It's Marillier. And this is actually the third book of a trilogy. Most of her books are based on Celtic lore. She has one that's based on Picts lore, but she has a whole series that it's called the Seven Water trilogy, or Seven Water series, and it follows like this one family who are the stewards of an area of Ireland. Your sister is begging you to come closer to Christmas? Christmas in Greece would be nice if you're spending it with your sister, for sure. Why isn't this telling me how long the ads are? It seems strange. Normally it does. I think that's fair, Maddie. I think it would be best to save up as much money as possible just to ensure that there are no problems. Thank you, Frost. I appreciate that. Okay. All right, Camian is back, so ads are done. All right, thank you. We'll continue. "I have never spoken of these things," he said after a while, his tone muted, almost apologetic. "Not in all these years. Why should I do so now? Besides, I am bound by a promise. I cannot tell you the full truth, and will not." I said nothing, but waited. "What you said, one thing you said, has been on my mind all day. That if I do not act now to change the path of my life, he would indeed have conquered me. If you want me to name the ghost I must lay, it is that one, the painted man. He killed my men. He stole my woman. He robbed me of my sons. He took my future for himself. I cannot contemplate another life until I place my 2 hands on that man's neck and squeeze the last breath from him. I want to see him suffer and die. Is this what you wanted to hear? Is it? Tell me." My voice was not quite steady, but I kept control. "Doesn't it trouble you that the woman you once loved would then lose her husband, and face a future of grief and loneliness? For you still care about her. Do not deny it. Love. You would use that word again. The word is meaningless, Vanya. You'll grow to realize that. Theoden condemned me to a life of emptiness. Does she deserve any better? Besides, Inesaila is bristling with men. Feral creatures like him, every one. She could take her pick. Her bed will not stay cold long when he is gone. That's a little harsh. You think so, after what she did. Tell me, is there not the tiniest hope somewhere beneath your lust for vengeance, that once this man is gone, Theoden will have a change of heart to come back to you? I was watching him closely, timing my words to his mood. Is this why you have remained so long unwed? Did you not say once, these halls are kept bright for her? Ha! It was an explosion of scorn. I'm not a complete fool, nor am I entirely without pride. She debased and sullied herself by letting that man take her. She is no longer a fit partner for a man of quality. That was her choice. I would not offer her another chance, not if she begged me. Besides, she is no longer of an age to bear your sons with any safety. Aemon looked at me, and I willed myself to gaze steadily back. So, I said, you must kill this fellow, the painted man. Then you can forget. And have your life back. If this is all, why did you not take the initiative years ago? Why waste so much time? You have the resources, surely. I understand the man is some kind of outcast, rejected by all respectable folk, for all he holds an estate across the water. And he's a Briton, an enemy. It should be simple. Why wait so long? You think I have not tried? Aemon's voice grew harsh, and he got up and began to pace across the room, to and fro, to and fro. The fellow's slippery as an eel, and not to be cornered, devious and quite devoid of scruples. With his marriage he put on a thin coat of respectability. In time he acquired Harrowfield as well as his bizarre establishment in the north. So now he has powerful allies as well as enemies. You say I have resources. They are nothing to his. He is ingenious, a trickster who will turn anything and anyone to his own advantage. He knows how to slip through the finest net, how to outpace the swiftest hound. My pursuit of him has been relentless, Vanya, through the years. I have never even come close. That's the man he is. A clever one. Clever. Rat cunning, that's all. Sewer scum. This man is Sean's ally, and the father of his heir. That must be a little difficult. Wouldn't it jeopardize my uncle's venture against the Britons if the painted man were killed? Marine told me each of the partners in the alliance has a vital role to play if Sean's great endeavor is to succeed. That's as may be, he said, scowling. My quest to destroy this man is not Sean's concern. Still, the warriors of Inesaila will fight alongside your own forces in the battle for the islands. Will not the painted man be your own ally then? That man is evil, he said coldly. He cannot be viewed as an ally, not under any circumstances. He was marked for death at my hands long ago. What are you telling me? I asked him. Is your thirst for vengeance stronger than your desire to see the islands preserved for Ulster? How can that be? Aemon muttered something, still pacing. What? I can't discuss this further. I told you I am bound by a promise. A promise to whom? To her. Don't ask me, Vanya. This is something that cannot be told. Very well. I understand what must be done. It seems to me you need inside information. A spy, maybe. Nobody spies at Harrowfield. Nobody gets in and out without that man's nod. And he always knows. I've tried. As for Inesaila, it's impregnable. Not one of my men got as far as the settlement on the landward side, let alone over the water. The painted man has a network of intelligence to rival that of northwards himself. He travels often between Ulster and Britain, and far beyond, but he does so in secret. Nobody tracks him. Folk used to say he and his men were some sort of otherworld creatures, outside the laws of humankind. Sometimes I find myself half believing it, fool that I am. Right, I said. No spies. Not human ones, anyway. What other kind can there be? Ah, I'll come to that later. But believe that I can help you. More wine. I refilled his goblet, added a drop or two to my own. Eamon was gazing at me in disbelief. You help. Forgive me, Fanya, but I cannot see how. No, you wouldn't. I'll explain in time. First, I have another question. I hope it's not as difficult as the last. It seems to me this is somewhat more taxing than Brandiv. I want you to tell me honestly why you think me unsuitable as a wife. Make your words plain. He opened his mouth. You think this question inappropriate, I said coolly. That much is obvious. Your education has certainly been somewhat lacking, he said, tight-lipped. This is not a question a young woman asks a man. I have asked it, and I want your honest answer. And if you want to consider what is inappropriate, perhaps it is not so appropriate for a man in your position to take his kinsman's niece out riding alone, and put his tongue in her mouth and his fingers— Stop it, Fanya. You sound almost coarse. I knew nothing of such matters until you taught me, I said demurely, hating the look of distaste in his eye. I made an error. I have already said I'm sorry. You are a lovely young woman, and you have a manner about you that catches the eye and the imagination, and makes a man itch to take you in his arms and do those things of which you so bluntly remind me. It is natural for a man to feel thus, Fanya. Even an innocent convent girl, you must understand that. I nodded, eyes downcast. And for a woman to feel the same, that is what brings two people together, a stirring of the blood, a longing to be close. I understand. But I have told you, I will not give myself to a man outside marriage, and you have made it plain enough it is not your intention to wed. Yet you brought me here, and you do not seem eager to see me go. Now he was looking into the fire, reluctant to meet my eyes. Indeed, no. As I told you, I find you pleasing as a companion, quick-witted, clever, competent, good with children, patient and sweet-tempered, and full of surprises. I'm coming to realize I do not dislike surprises as much as I thought. I cannot deny that I hoped you might, that you might let me teach you the arts of the bedchamber, Fanya. This has been in my mind, disturbingly so, since first I saw you with your cousins at Seven Waters. So out of place in that house, like an exotic bloom set among wildflowers. But marriage, I could not consider it. My heart was cold with fury. I breathed slowly and carefully. Feelings were irrelevant. Feelings only got in the way and stopped you from doing what had to be done. So you thought I might stay as some sort of unofficial wife, was that it? To warm your bed and sit demurely by you as you worked, and be whisked out of sight whenever folk of consequence came to visit? No, Fanya. He sounded quite wretched, but this time I could not summon a shred of sympathy. I had no such thoughts. I behaved foolishly, from self-interest, and without thinking things out. A lapse of judgment which I will not make again. It was as if you were a bright flame which I wanted at my hearth to warm me. Poetic. But you would not take me as a wife. Why not? I had not thought to wed at all. It seems too late. Besides, when a man in my position takes a wife, she must be a woman of proven pedigree. Don't imagine it did not occur to me when first I met you. I made inquiries. I asked my sister, and I asked John. I asked the Druid. All of them were remarkably evasive about the identity of your father. That was sufficient to alert me to its irregularity. A man does not put his prize stallion to some wild mare, Fanya. The progeny would be tainted, not worth raising. I swallowed my humiliation with great difficulty. I wanted badly to hit him. Instead, I allowed myself to blush faintly, and took a sip of my wine. Great. This TikTok's like, you've been flagged for violent and criminal behavior. All right. Nothing has happened, mind you, but all right. The stream was paused. And thank you for the subscription coming in with your Prime. That's funny, Maddie. Yeah, TikTok is ridiculous. Oh, hello, Hippie. It's okay, Hippie. I know things have been kind of crazy and you had stuff going on with your little... but thank you for joining the fan club. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know why TikTok is so silly. If there was anything, like, egregious in here, I would, like, skip past it, but it's pretty tame for the most part. Right. Milo, you're like a little heater. You're making me hot. I need to trim his nails. You're gonna rip me up. Okay. I see. You understand a good marriage could make a great difference to me. I am not without skills and talents. Indeed, I have some you could scarcely guess at, Eamon. But in my Uncle Sean's house I am no more than a poor relation. Without a good match, and a worthy man to guide me, I face a future of obscurity. Servitude, almost. Eamon scowled. I would offer you a place here. You would be well cared for. Everything you wished. Fine clothes, adornments, the run of my house and my estate. My company when I am here. I could provide a life of quality for you, Fanya. You need not return to be a drudge in my sister's household. And I would initiate you gently in those pleasures you spoke of. I think you might not be averse to that. But you would not place your ring on my finger, or give me your name, or have me bear your sons. Rather than endure that shame, you would have no sons at all. In all things I would be a poor substitute for her, would I not? My voice shook despite my best efforts. Oh, Fanya, I've done this badly, and I've distressed you. Marriage is out of the question, my dear. It would be frowned upon by everyone. Such a match would be viewed as foolish and wasteful, an indication that my grasp was slipping. I'd become a laughing-stock. If you do not wed, you have no legitimate sons. When you die, carrion descend on your estates and tear them apart. Is that what you want? Have you lost the will to fight what is your own? To preserve a birthright for your children? You disappoint me. You have let your enemy win after all. There was silence again. Tell me then, said Eamon, putting his goblet down heavily on the table and taking both my hands in his. Tell me who you really are and why you came here. For one thing is certain, I will not wed a woman who has no father. My strategy was fraught with risk, and this was the trickiest part. A man with such a strong sense of propriety would recoil from the truth. I must tell him, and I must keep his interest long enough so he would hear what came after. Very well, I said with a hesitancy that was quite natural. I will tell you the truth. You won't like it. I'll have to extract a promise from you, I think. That you will let me finish. Give me your word. Of course, said Eamon, and his thumb moved slightly against my wrist, as in the back of his mind the pleasures of the flesh will still held him in their grasp, despite his better judgment. If it were so, that gave me an advantage. and I must use it, though it sickened me. Very well, I said again. This is difficult for me, you understand. It is like admitting I am somehow flawed. I am not what you have believed me, Aemon. I never told you I was raised in a priory by Christian sisters. I let you believe what you chose, that was all. I grew up with my father and Kerry, just the two of us, alone. My father taught me all I know. He was once a druid, but is no more, since he met my mother and took her away. His name is Ciaran, and he is half-brother to Connor of Seven Waters. There was a very long silence. Aemon kept hold of my hands, but now his own were still as if frozen in time. What? He said so quietly I could barely hear. There was deep shock in his eyes. My father is the child of Colum of Seven Waters by his second wife. She took him away when he was very small, but his father brought him home to the forest, and they raised him as a druid. He is a good man, a wise and honorable man. He has been my only family, my guide and my mentor all these years. But that means... Do you understand what it means, Fanya? Now he released my hands. Oh, yes. It means the union between my mother and my father was forbidden. They were too close in blood, for her mother was his half-sister. But they did not know when they fell in love. Nobody told my father whose son he was, until it was too late. But your mother, Neve, she was wed. She was wed to one of the Oonagh, and she was abducted from my fortress at Shidúv. She was taken away by the dog that guide me. You cannot tell me that Leodin knew of this incestuous passion and helped her sister flee to the arms of her lover. That Leodin aided this, with the assistance of... This is abhorrent beyond belief, that such a thing might occur in my own home, with my own sister present. Did Sean know of this? He knew of their love for one another. That was why my mother was given to another man, and sent away to Tir Connell. She was very unhappy. Her husband was cruel to her. He punished Neve, perhaps, on finding she had committed an act of base depravity. It seems her judgment was flawed as her sister's. I bit back my rage. Now you know who I am, Aemon. This is the truth. You can understand, perhaps, why my kinsfolk were evasive in their answers. He seemed to have no more to say, but stood glaring into the fire, arms folded. I thought maybe he was considering what a lucky escape he had had, thanking the gods that he had not, after all, taken me to bed. Enough of that, I said with a lightness quite at odds with my heavy heart. We have other matters to discuss. Your enemy, your vengeance. For it seems to me this is foremost in your mind. So powerful it outweighs your loyalty to your allies and kinsmen. It doesn't matter, Aemon said dismissively. This is over between us. Return to Seven Waters if you wish, and take the children. Let all be as before. I have no future, Fanya. If I choose to spend my life pursuing a phantom, what concern is it of yours? None, perhaps, I said quietly. But I hate to see a good man go to waste. Besides, I said I could help you. I spoke the truth, and I will show you how. It was necessary first for me to explain about my father. He was raised a druid. After he left the Wise Ones, he delved further into the realm of sorcery. When my mother died, he became my sole companion, and he taught me a great many things, as a master teaches an apprentice. This was what I meant when I spoke of skills. This is no longer of interest to me. You promised to hear me out. Aemon stood there stony-faced. I poured a goblet of wine and put it in his hand, and he drained it. I doubt he was even aware of what he did. Imagine a set of scales, I said evenly. On one side hangs your chance to finish the painted man, once and for all. The certainty of vengeance, the knowledge that you hold his life between your fingers. On the other is a young woman, One who, on your own admission, makes your heart beat and your body stir. One who saves herself for you, saves herself fresh and untouched for your wedding night. Perhaps she is not the one you love, but she will give you what Theoden never gave. She will give you her youth, and bear you fine sons and lovely daughters. She will never so much as glance at another man. She will keep your house bright, and your hearth warm, and welcome you with open arms when you return. You will never be bored by her. She will always surprise you anew. There's only one problem. Her pedigree is somewhat flawed. You tell yourself you will not have her. You cast her aside. And so you lose both. The scales unbalance. You lose your future, and at the same time you throw away the chance to destroy your old foe and wipe out the injustices of the past. For to have one, you must take both. You speak like a druid. I don't understand you. His curiosity was awakened, despite himself. I had chosen my words with care. To defeat this enemy, you need inside information. You need intelligence of where his weaknesses lie. Information on his movements, identifying perhaps a time when he will be alone and unguarded, and at his most vulnerable. The two of you fight side by side next summer. There will be opportunities for you. But, yes, there is a problem. On one hand, an estate in distant Northumbria, an enemy territory and well guarded. One could scarcely attempt that. On the other, an island fortress, remote and secret, with a network of protection so complete it seems almost otherworldly in its construction. This man can be found there from time to time. But how can one penetrate such defenses? Not by sending in some warrior trained in the art of spying. This man will always have another, better than your own. No, you need something more. You need a spy who can go quite undetected, who will blend with the surroundings, as if she is not there at all. A spy who can travel unseen to the most secret council and most covert meeting. One who might even uncover the confidences of the bedchamber, if you wish to know them. This I can provide for you. Now he was staring at me, both shocked and bemused. Hello, Sortok. He will be back tomorrow. His cheeks were flushed. Maybe it was the wine, but I thought I detected a new excitement there. My father taught me some skills that are a little unusual, I said softly. I will demonstrate for you. Call in your serving man. Ask him to bring food, perhaps, or logs for the fire. Without further question, Eamon did as I instructed. The man came in and stood before us, a square-framed youngish fellow with a hard sort of face and little eyes. My heart was thumping even as I summoned the craft, for I could see the image of that woman using her knife to slit open a fish that was her own daughter. I must make no errors this time. As Eamon gave his servant quiet instructions, I spoke a spell under my breath, suppressing the temptation to change Eamon himself into another form while I was at it, maybe a stoat. And as I spoke, the man's form began to alter, his nose to lengthen, his skin to grow darkly hairy, his form to shrink before Eamon's fascinated, horrified gaze. And there in front of us was a fine black hound, panting a little, tongue hanging out, ears pricked up, tail wagging hopefully. Good boy, I said. Sit. Eamon set his wine cup very carefully down on the table. Can I believe what I see? He breathed. Is not this some trick of the light that will vanish the instant we move? How did you do this? Here, I said. He's real. Touch him. Then I'd better change him back and send him on his way. Gingerly, Eamon stretched out his hand, and the hound licked his fingers. The dog does save me, whispered Eamon. What are you? A practitioner of the black arts. I've been a fool to listen to you. It was your grandmother who seduced and bewitched Lord Colum, and in doing so destroyed him. This is perilous, Vanya. You frighten me. And yet... He broke off. I touched the dog's head and murmured a word, and in a trice the serving man was back before us, blinking in confusion. A wave of relief ran through me. It had worked. I had done it safely this time. Fetch more wine, I told the man kindly enough. And some wheaten bread, if there is any. Lord Aemon is hungry. When the man was gone, I said, I'm no evil witch. My father is a sorcerer. He taught me. But we are not necromancers. We use our craft with wisdom and caution. Can you see how this might be employed to achieve the goal which has thus far eluded you? You'd better tell me, I think. Come, we should sit and perhaps wait until he comes and goes again. Will he remember nothing? It depends. It depends on how the spell is cast. This man will think he had a slight dizziness, a momentary confusion, no more. Had I left him in his altered form for longer, it might have been different. Hello, Crystal. Welcome in. Totally understandable, Sortok. This is as tall as I can sit right now. Hello, Joker. Hello again, Matthew. My goodness, kitty. You're so silly. You're like a noodle. You would send a man in the form of a creature to gather information? He could do so and bring it back to you. He was eager now, his mind sifting possibilities. No, Aemon. I'll explain it to you, and you will see why the image of the scales is apt. Ah, here is your man with our wine. Thank you. I smiled as the fellow set down a tray with a fresh wine jug and a small loaf of soft bread. That is all for tonight. Aemon could not help staring, as if he expected the man to develop pointed ears or a wagging tail at any moment. You can go to bed, the others too. Shut the door when you go out and remind the household not to disturb us. Yes, my lord. The man retreated, and Aemon stooped up to put another log on the fire. The room was dark enough, save for the flickering glow from the hearth and the candles set here and there. Outside, the wind keened through the winter trees. Here, before the fire, there was a feeling of conspiracy, of secret shared under cover of darkness. I took a mouthful of wine and set my cup down. Not too much. So far, this had gone my way. I could not afford to grow reckless. I'll explain it to you, Aemon. I cannot turn a man to a dog, or a fly, or a bird, and send him to spy for you. In his creature form, he will not remember your instructions, and he cannot comprehend human speech. I could change you. I could make you a toad or a weasel, but you are the same kind as your servant. You, too, would lose your human consciousness until I brought you back. So you see, that would be pointless. How, then, can this be done? An ordinary man or woman could not change thus, and retain the knowledge of both forms, man and beast. To do so is to preserve of a seer, or of a sorcerer. You mean... I mean that if you want this done, you must trust me to do it for you. For I can change, to owl or salmon or deer, and I can go into my uncle's house, or to the secret halls of Inesela, and listen. I can return and bring you the key to this man's destruction. I have the skills and will to do it. You really mean this, said Aemon slowly. It is true, and not some young girl's wild fantasy. My grandmother turned 6 young men into swans, and came close to destroying the House of 7 Waters, I said grimly. Do not believe that I am incapable of such a deed. It is your own resolve that might be questioned, for if this goes ahead, my Uncle Sean's campaign is doomed. Aunt Aisling is your sister, after all. Would you see 7 waters fail and the Britons keep the islands? Eamon gave a bitter smile. We have the child of the prophecy, don't we? Perhaps it may not fail. The son of the very man you seek to destroy. Is not he just such a wretch as his father, the man you think less than human? Oddly enough, the boy is a sound leader, much admired among the Alliance. He is strong, skillful, wise beyond his years. I find it unthinkable that the man's son will one day be the master of 7 waters, that much is true. But a son does not choose his father. I see. He had surprised me. Such with his hatred, I had assumed it would spill over onto everyone connected with the Painted Man. I wondered again just what sort of man this Johnny was, that they all had such faith in him. You think, then, that if his father dies, he will lead the allies into battle? Eamon scowled. In any event, he will lead. The prophecy makes that clear. As to his father's role, that has been kept from me. Allies we may be, but Sean gives out only as much as suits him, and that riles me. I cannot judge whether the loss of the Painted Man will affect the campaign or not. Nor do I care, for I must confess to you, that one far outweighs the other in my mind. I want you to show me, Fanya. Show me you can do as you say. Now his voice was shaking with eagerness. Show me you can change. No, I will not do that. Why not? Because it's fraught with danger, Eamon. It depletes the craft afterward, one is drained and exhausted. Such high powers are not to be used lightly as a mere demonstration. Believe me, I can do it. And when the time comes, I will. I'm just watching a movie called Highlander. That's a good one. That is a good one. Hello, Raven. Yes, it is story time. It's been a while, though. But yeah, it's been a couple of hours, but welcome in. It is definitely story time. Milo, you're slipping off. I'm gonna move the cat. Oh, no, don't lose the... Yeah, bookmarks 4, right? Come here. Oh, sleepy boy. There you go. Isn't that better? Baby. Okay. Here we go. You like it so much? Is it the old one? Because I think there was a newer one too, right? Or is that something that's happening in the future? I don't quite remember. If you're talking about the old one, then yes, I know that. I'm pretty sure they made a show. But I like the movie. Yeah. It's a classic. I can scarce comprehend this, he muttered, and I could see his mind was turning over the tantalizing possibilities I had held out before him. With this, I can have him before the summer is over. I can know his very thoughts, be privy to his darkest secrets. With this, surely my quest cannot fail, and the man must perish at my own hand. Are you sure, Fanya? Are you certain you can do this for me? Oh, yes, I said calmly. There's no doubt that I can. But there's a price, Eamon. You are not the only one with a vision and a goal. What price? I could hear the excitement in his voice. At that moment, I could have asked for almost anything. I told you before, I said. The scales, the balance. You accept one side, you accept the other. If we are to be partners in this, then we are partners in all things. I perform your will. I gather the intelligence you seek. I share your hearth and your bed. You will find that there, too, I can work magic. I bear your children and you give me your name. I need that security. I need respectability, a home, a place where I can belong. Without that, I will not do it. For if you kill this ally, and my uncle's campaign is lost, my only future lies with you." There was a deathly silence, interrupted only by the small crackings and poppings of the fire, and outside the hooting of an owl. I waited for him to tell me that he would not wed a woman with tainted blood, despite all. If he said that, I might not be able to retain control, to remain calm. Magical powers do not arm one against that kind of hurt. "Vanya," he said quietly. He was looking into the flames, and I could not see his expression. "Yes?" Curse it, my voice had gone wobbly, as if I were about to weep. I had been foolish to have so much wine. Control was everything. "What do you mean? It's not inactive." Why does it do this? Oh my god. There we go. That's totally fine, Bear. Okay. Come here. Come closer. I got up and moved to kneel before him, so that the firelight would shine on my hair and warm my pale skin to a rosy glow. I looked into his eyes, schooling my expression to an innocent hope, fresh, guileless. "You swear that you are telling the truth, that you can do this and succeed?" "I swear it, Aemon." I toyed with the idea of casting just one more spell, like an opposite of the charm I had used on him in an awkward moment up by the waterfall. But I saw the expression in his eyes and knew I needed no such aids. There was desire in his look, but it was more than that. It was the look of a man so eaten up by hatred that he would stop at nothing to get what he wanted. A look that told me, while his bodily lusts might need attending to from time to time, the only thing that really excited him was the thought of his enemy's neck under his hands, and the sound of the last breath being slowly squeezed from his body. "Touch me, Vanya," he whispered, and I heard the same excitement in his voice, edgy, dangerous. "Let me taste your lips. Let me taste my vengeance there." There was a very strong wish in me to spit in his face, for it seemed to me the man did not see me as a real woman at all, but merely some tool to be used toward his own dark purpose. Anger and self-disgust rose in me. I suppressed both. "Control," said Grandmother's voice. "Don't lose it now, at the end. Do as he bids you. You said you would be a good wife, didn't you? Show him how good. Make him want you." "You did say," I murmured. "Just a kiss, just one," Aemon said softly. And he took me into his arms and pressed his lips against my neck and my cheek. And because there was no choice, I let him kiss me on the lips. That was the hardest moment of all, pretending to him that I was willing, winding my arms around his neck, opening my mouth so that he could probe deeper with his tongue, feeling his hands on my body and knowing all the time that there was no honesty at all about it. I was filled with a cold distaste, even as I gasped with simulated pleasure and moved my body against his own. As for Aemon, he wanted me. I could feel that, but I did not fool myself that my charms had anything at all to do with it. He had proved tonight that it was the thought of vengeance that brought him alive. Makes quokka sounds. Maddie, you're so silly. Interesting. I thought as his hand began to move against my leg to think what might come later. I could not imagine myself as this man's wife. If it ever came to that, I had the tools to punish him for his arrogance. But it would never happen. Whatever occurred, there was no future for me after the summer. I had asked for marriage only to make my offer of magical help more convincing, for it was hardly plausible that I would make such a gesture out of the goodness of my heart. Perhaps, also, I had done it to salvage some sense of pride. His hands were wandering somewhat further than they might. Maybe he had misunderstood my meaning. "Eamon," I gasped. "You promised." "Just once," he muttered. "Just once, Fanya. You'll enjoy it, I'll make sure of that. Just tonight, then I'll wait. Don't say no to me." He was quite strong enough to deny me any chance of escape without using the craft. I could hardly try that trick again. I did not wish to annoy him. For all he had done, he had not said yes, but in so many words. Besides, I could not speak the words of a spell while he had his tongue in my mouth, and he seemed in no particular hurry to move it. Goodness. Oh, thank you, Austin. I appreciate that. We're in like a tough chapter because we don't like this guy. I heard the small sound before he did. It was no more than a creak, a rustle, as the door was opened and someone came to a sudden halt on the threshold. Eamon withdrew his lips from mine and his hands from my body. He drew breath, ready to reprimand whatever serving man had dared to intrude where he had no business. He looked toward the doorway. There was a stunned silence. "I've come to take my daughters home." The voice was my Uncle Sean's, and chilly as a dawn frost at Samhain. "And not a moment too soon, it appears." I turned around slowly, feeling a hot blush rise to my cheeks, despite my efforts at control. My uncle was dressed in riding clothes, and the look in his eyes were as wintry as his voice. Behind me, Eamon took another careful breath, and I felt his hands as they settled on my shoulders in a gesture, which, it seemed to me, indicated ownership. "Sean, you surprise us," he said with commendable smoothness. "Fanya has done me the honor of agreeing to become my wife." If I had read shock and distaste on Sean's face before, there was nothing to the way he looked now. He took 2 very deliberate steps into the room without speaking, and the set of his mouth was very grim indeed. And then I winced with pain as Eamon's grip tightened convulsively on my shoulders, and his body froze. My uncle had not come alone. Behind him in the doorway stood a woman, previously masked from view, for she was a small, slight thing who came barely to Sean's shoulder. For a moment I thought it was Maureen, and then I looked again. This woman had the same dark curling hair as my cousin, fastened up neatly in a coil of plaits, with wayward tendrils escaping around her delicate features. She had the same fey green eyes and tiny slender form. But Maureen had not such a sweetly curving mouth, a mouth a man might think made for kissing. And Maureen had no such air of authority, for this woman was considerably older, as she stepped into the room, untying the fastenings of her hooded cloak. She seemed as formidable as my uncle himself, a woman who would command instant obedience from all, without even needing to ask. As an enemy, she would be daunting. I had no doubt at all that this was my mother's only sister, my Aunt Leodin. Eamon, who had handled my uncle's unexpected appearance with surprising aplomb, seemed now completely lost for words. "A cold night for riding," I observed, and put one hand over Eamon's for a moment, then moved away from him as he relaxed his grip. You'd welcome a goblet of wine, I expect." "Thank you." Leodin appeared to be capable of speech. If the 2 men were not, she moved more. Wow. I think we're like hitting the end. I keep stumbling. Sorry. I'm gonna keep trying, because it seems like a terrible spot to end. She moved forward, discarding her cloak on a bench to reveal a gown and overtunic of extremely plain cut. The one a dark gray, the other a lighter shade, with a hint of violet in it. For all the severity of her appearance, her voice was warm, and her wide green eyes surveyed me tranquilly enough. I poured the wine and passed her a goblet, keeping my hands steady. "We didn't expect you," I said. Leodin glanced at Eamon and back at me. Her mouth tightened. "Indeed. I will not apologize, for it seems to me our arrival was impeccably timed. We plan to take you and the girls home tomorrow morning. Maeve is somewhat improved and fretting for her sisters." "I'm glad she is better," I said. I forced myself to go on. "What of the man who was burned, the young druid?" "I was able to ease his pain a little, but not even a young, strong man recovers from such injuries. I explained this to him. Connor took him back to the forest." "I'm sorry." My voice cracked and her gaze sharpened. The two men had neither moved nor spoken. The air in the dimly lit room was alive with tension. Then there were rapidly approaching footsteps, and Eamon's serving man was at the door, fastening his shirt, smoothing his rumpled hair, full of apologies. Eamon gave quick instructions. Food to be prepared. Sleeping quarters got ready immediately. Horses stabled and cared for. "It appears we have matters to discuss." Sean moved at last, but only to fold his arms and frown. "Matters that cannot wait for tomorrow. I want the girls out of here as early as they can pack and be ready." "There's no need for such haste, surely." I had come to know Eamon well enough to hear the deep unease in his voice, and to see how carefully he was not looking at my aunt as she settled herself on a bench, straight-backed, managing somehow to look like a princess in her plain gown. "I have no intention of staying here beyond one night," said Leodin coolly. "It's time the girls went home. As for what you spoke of, it is quite out of the question. In the light of day, upon a little reflection, even you will see that, Eamon." "I think not. The match appears to me quite suitable, and I am confident that Aisling will agree. My sister has been urging me to wed for so many years, I grow weary of it. And you are unlikely to see your niece so advantageously matched elsewhere, I think." "It's not possible," said Sean heavily, "for reasons best not discussed here." "If you refer to Fanya's parentage, I know of it. She has told me herself quite bravely. I think if we are to debate this tonight, we should excuse her first. Fanya has been unwell and is very tired. These matters are best settled between men." I saw my Aunt Leodin's mouth quirk up at the corner, but her eyes were deadly serious. She looked at her brother, and he looked back at her, and I was reminded that Sean was Leodin's twin. I was reminded of what Clodagh had told me, that messages flew between them in silence, no matter the distance. From the dark, shadowy forest of Seven Waters to the impenetrable secrecy of Inisala, or over the sea to Harrowfield, messages of the mind, straight as an arrow and swifter than the fleetest deer. "For once I find myself in agreement with you, Eamon." Leodin rose to her feet, yawning. "We can spare Fanya the details, surely. And as for myself, I am quite weary, and we need of nothing but a warm place to sleep. I will see that our escort is settled, and then retire. Believe me, I have no wish to remain here one moment longer than I must. Come, Fanya, shall we go?" As the two of us made our way out of the chamber, leaving the men in a charged silence, I looked back at Eamon over my shoulder. His expression was a wondrous blend, where the agony of hopeless love warred with a vindictive hatred nurtured through long years of frustration. I had been right before. It was on her his eyes were fixed, and the darkness in them showed how he struggled with himself. To him nothing else mattered but this. Right, that's the end of chapter 9. Okay, we made it. I already know chapter 10 is gonna be long, so I think we will save that for next time. Which would be, yes, it is very long. It is 32 pages, goodness. So Thursday will be Castle reading. What will he be reading? Are you guys continuing with the Feist series? I believe you are. Adds in 5 also? Well, that was good timing. Are we doing a song or two? Goodness, Kitty, you're making me so hot. But you're so cute. Did I drink my drink? I have been. It's not water, but oh, take a tiny sip. With this one? I don't have anything in here. I drank all my water. But yeah, here's my little tiny sip. It's funnier when Castle does it because it's actually super tiny when he does it. For me, it's like almost normal. You are welcome, Frost. Well, thank you, Yofer. I appreciate that. I do my best. I do love this author a great deal, which is why I decided to read it to you guys. Almost against your will, because normally we allow the community to choose the book. But in this case, I chose for you. Okay, no problem, Frost. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night. But yeah, let me know if you want to do songs or if you're all ready to go to bed. But yes, I believe with Castle you will be reading the Aragon series next for the family-friendly stream, and then you're continuing with Vice books for the Rift War saga, yes? Soldier Poet King? Alright, we can do Soldier Poet King, Maddie. I know that is one of your favorites. Speaking of Vice, did you get your books, Maddie? Or are they taking longer than they were supposed to? Alright, Yofer. If you're ready to head off to bed, please go ahead and get some rest. I appreciate you joining us this evening. Yeah, I think I will be fine, Fallen Crow. I don't sound terrible. Like, my throat's a little scratchy, but I think I could still make it through a couple songs. You'll have to, I mean, if they turn out awful, then I apologize, but I'm willing to try. You got yours today? Oh, good, Tyson. Glad to hear that. My book is almost done. It's going pretty good. Awesome, Joker. That's good news. I will be ready to congratulate you when you have finished. Thank you. I appreciate that, Yofer. Have a good sleep. And hopefully we'll see you next time. I usually read on Sunday evenings and then Castles on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Have a good night. Okay. Soldier Poet King, you guys can think about what other song you want me to do, okay? There will come a soldier who carries a mighty sword. He will tear your city down. Ole, ole, O Lord. Ole, 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 O Lord. He will tear your city down. Ole, ole, O Lord. There will come a poet whose weapon is his word. He will slay you with his tongue. Ole, ole, O Lord. Ole, 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 O Lord. He will slay you with his tongue. Ole, ole, O Lord. There will come a ruler whose brow is laid in thorn, smeared with oil like David's boy. Ole, ole, O Lord. Ole, 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 O Lord. Smeared with oil like David's boy. Ole, ole, O Lord. Yes, please, because I booked the warrior. Almost finished. I gotta do. Are you just going through the editing process, Joker? Savage Daughter, because I know if you, yeah. Usually, we can do Savage Daughter. I always feel like I should take a break first and warm up my voice for this, but oh well. Okay, got it. So it's a polishing stage. That's very good. Okay, here we go. Savage Daughter by Sarah Hester Ross. I am my mother's savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot, cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter, I will not cut my hair, I will not lower my voice. My mother's child is a savage. She looks for her romance in the colors of stones, in the faces of cats, in the falling of feathers, in the dancing of fire, in the curve of old bones. I am my mother's savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot, cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter, I will not cut my hair, I will not lower my voice. My mother's child dances in darkness. She sings heathen songs by the light of the moon, and watches the stars and renames the planets, and dreams she can reach them with a song and a broom. I am my mother's savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot, cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter, I will not cut my hair, I will not lower my voice. We are all brought forth out of darkness into this world through blood and through pain, and deep in our bones the old songs are waking, so sing them with voices of thunder and rain. We are our mother's savage daughters, the ones who run barefoot, cursing sharp stones. We are our mother's savage daughters, we will not cut our hair, we will not lower our voice. Okay. Not excruciatingly terrible. Something came and Mom is not replying to me as to who they're for. Oh, rude. I'd request overboard, but I'm sure that needs time. What's overboard? Which one is that? Do I know that one? And then mostly there's going to be some bonus chapters are there, but they're going to be really good. Okay, bonus chapters. That's fun. Oh, thank you, Minnesota girl. Appreciate that. And thank you, Matthew. Okay. I swear, I need to live in a colder climate. Like, I'm wearing light stuff too. It's crazy. Oh. I have to hear it to see if I know it. Yeah, but this is a guy talking about a woman. That's not a song I should do. Right, yes. Did you put that in the Discord? I don't remember. Because I have the song request spot in there. In the Bard's Corner. Child is so loud. I call him a child, but he's really a young man now. It's crazy. Oh, so it'd probably be a good song for Castle and I to do together then. I don't know why I grabbed this Gigantor mug, but it's because it has Alice in Wonderland stuff on it. I like Alice in Wonderland. That's why I requested it. I thought you and Castle would fit it. Yeah, we can definitely give it a listen. Obviously, he's been gone all this time, so it's probably why it hasn't been talked about. Sorry. We can do some old classics like Scarborough Fair or Shularun, or there's some old ones that you might like. I'm trying to do learn how to do all of Doulahan one. Gosh, what was it? Doulaman one. That's what it was. Moby Duck. I've never actually heard that song. I've only heard Castle sing it. I haven't heard the actual song. I'm not doing the song that never ends, Maddie. Good night, Joker. Good luck with the book. I hope the polishing goes well. Hoist Up the Thing. It's a fun one. I could probably do that. I've never sung it before, but I could probably do it. Want to do the funny ones today, huh? To like listen to the tune. Oh yeah, I have no qualms calling you out, Maddie. Okay. I could do Wellerman. I could try Hoist Up the Thing. I've never sung it before, but I can try it. We'll see how this goes. If it's awful, I'll stop. I promise. Rush out of college with grades straight from hell. I browse for a trade at which I could excel. An ad for a ship in need of some manning. Men, sails, and purpose, but lacking a captain. Yeah, this is weird. I'm gonna have to practice one. I'm gonna have to practice. I know the chorus, but I'm not used to the verses. Because I just listened to Castle do it. So I can do Wellerman, though. I got a little bit better at that one. First time I tried singing that one, I was like, where is the tune? 'Twas lost to me. Okay, we'll try this one. There once was a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship was the Billy O' Tea. The winds blew up her bow, dip down, oh blow, my bully boys blow. Ho! Soon may the weathermen come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. She'd not been 2 weeks from shore when down on her a right whale bore. The captain called all hands and swore he'd take that whale in tow. Ho! Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. I can't go. I can't get it. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can't. Before the boat had hit the water, the whale's tail came up and caught her. All hands to the side harpooned and fought her when she dived down low. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. No line was cut, no whale was freed. The captain's mind was not of greed, and he belonged to the whaleman's creed. She took that ship in tow. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. I don't know why I'm struggling today. For 40 days or even more, the line would slack, then tight once more. All boats were lost, there were only 4, but still that whale did go. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. As far as I've heard, the fight's still on, the line's not cut and the whale's not gone. The wellerman makes his regular call to encourage the captain, crew, and all. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. Sorry. Dreadful. I tried. Okay, the effort was made. And this is the last of my coffee, sad. I don't know what it is. Some days I can do that lower octave, and then some days I cannot. I don't know what it is. I'm not a professional singer, so. Goodness, it's warm. The last shanty. I don't think I know the last shanty. Just curious, is it okay to mention a place in a story, but not actually go there? If a character from there is in the story, yeah, why not? It's part of the world building. Like, you don't have to have your characters in that place to speak of it. Because it's not like the places that your character experiences are the only places that exist. That would be strange. Alright, I'm gonna end things on TikTok because it's probably gonna ask me if I'm still streaming for whatever reason. And we are coming to a close. We'll probably just be doing some waffles for a little bit, and then we will get off for the evening. I actually still have a lot of cleaning that I need to do, and it's already almost 9:30. So farewell to our TikTok friends. Have a good night, and thank you for joining us. Castle will be back on Thursday to continue the Ripped Wars saga by Raymond E. Feist. So hopefully we will see you then. Have a good night. Okay, got that one done. Righty, righty. So warm. My child was great. I'm asking because there's Inuit-inspired character, but Barry's story isn't aimed at going to said character's world. I do plan on writing a standalone with it, but still, yeah, I think referencing it is totally fine. And you don't want to over-explain it either. I think inference can go a long way when you do it right, and it's preferred in a novel. Do you know the band The Oh Hellos? I do. I can't think of what songs they do, but I know of them. If I heard it, I would know it. Where's your writer? Okay. We will have to make note of it. I'll just put it in here. So I see you put in Black Fox by Heather Dale. Where's your writer? And then what was the other one? Because I don't see that in here. Was it Cormac? Oh, we got The Last Shanty by Bear. Heroes in Valhalla. Okay. Now we've got Tyson's in there too. Okay. I will just make a list of these songs in my Spotify so I can start learning them. That would be almost like a cutscene for explanation. Yeah, I don't think there needs to be an explanation. I think we have a huge problem with storytelling nowadays where stuff gets over-explained and it really pulls away from the overall story. I think that just talking about the place, you know, even if they just make a reference like, oh, where I'm from, we see this differently, or we would do this differently, like, is enough. Because it talks of another place, it brings an interest to learn about it, but now in that moment is not necessarily the time to learn about it. It's fine if it can be seamlessly integrated into the scenes with your current protagonist and wherever they are and the happenings that are going on. But if you're like, oh, I need to explain what this place is about, it's like, because cutscenes can either be seamless, like, for example, the Lord of the Rings movies, right? I know there's a lot of people that have problems with it, but just cinematography-wise, there is a seamlessness in which the cinematography was done where you have all these different characters with different stuff going on and they blended them together. That's how you do, you know, like a segue into something else. But if the thing that you're segueing to is completely unrelated to what's going on, then it takes away from what's going on in the story you're currently writing about. You can kind of develop some interest for it, and then that gets explained when you have another story later. Right, Maddie? So it really just depends on how you handle it. I would just say be careful. You don't want to put something that's distracting because it pulls people out of the current narrative and then feels like over-exposition. Over-exposition is like the worst. that make sense? Do I have like a huge delay on this stream? Goodness. Which is fine, but does the place they come from have a huge role? That's the question. Like, there's nothing wrong with having some mystery around the character that gets resolved in another book. Oh, Everett. I don't know if you can hear him in the background. Okay. Well, then just think of it this way, like, when you're writing it, you have to think, is this information need to know? Does this information enhance what's currently going on? Does this information enhance the character that is related to it? If the answer is questionable or no, don't bother. I've been thinking to take on a new aspect to our Black Dragon Tavern stuff, which I totally don't need because we already have so much stuff going on. But I want to hand bind some like really nice some books, like just ones that we really love, and like do like leather bindings and just make them like really nice so they last a long time, like doing the sewing techniques. So I've been learning how to do that stuff. I have so many ideas. How do you tackle the concept of having a really interesting setting or genre, but having absolutely no story at all, like all the world building, no quest? Take my card. Yeah. I really want to do handbound books. But so if you have no story, then you kind of can fall into the trap of coming up with something contrived. But just start with a thought of like, who are the people that would live in this world, right? You have the setting. How does that setting affect the people that live there? How would they be living? Is there any sort of conflict that those people would have to be dealing with overall because of environment or opposing peoples that want to invade, stuff like that? And then maybe from there you can get inspiration of like, oh, here are some characters that are coming to mind that would be really interesting. I tend to think of characters before I think of the world, but as soon as I start thinking about the characters, the world kind of plans itself out. And then I'll do very character-driven writing a lot of the time. At least he seems to have a great backup team. Who? What? Yeah, I think it would be really cool because I also do 3D modeling, right? That's what I have a degree in. And I was looking at some techniques. So not only would I be able to do embossing in leather, but if I wanted to do like a 3D aspect, I could actually sculpt out the shape of what I want and then 3D print it and use it under the leather. So it would have like this really neat 3D aspect. Not too much, because obviously that could be really annoying. Put it in your bookshelf. But kind of more like a little bit more than a coin, right? Like you can see like it's coming out, but it's not too much. And then I thought it'd be cool to do Never Ending Story and then get like the Orin to put on the front. I think that would be really cool. I'm a mix of character first and world first. It depends. Yeah, I can agree with that. It totally depends. Because you want to make sure that they are in a believable world too. Which I think is fine, Maddie. Like, you don't have to do too much if it's not going to have any real relevance to what's going on with Barry. So, the character clearly is influencing her, but does where she's coming from matter? That's the question, you know? But my sister had asked me, she keeps bothering me to do like artwork and stuff to sell for other like popular books out there. Like she really likes the Akatar series. I think they're okay. You know, like they had some entertainment value, but as far as writing goes, I think they were okay. The characters, I was gonna say they're not bad, but then I like think about it. I don't know. I don't really particularly love the main character. There's not really a lot of continuity, so that kind of bothers me. I don't mind the like love triangle crap that was going on. It wasn't terrible. It made sense, but yeah. Anyway, I know it's really popular, so she's been bothering me to do artwork for it, and then she's like, "Oh, you should sell it," and I'm like, "Well, I do want to do typesetting also for some of these books that I want to hand bind because it would be nice to do illustrations for them also." The only problem is I'm like, but you know, we have so much other stuff to do. Like, I really want to get the children's books done, and I want to develop these characters for doing like a proof of concept for 3D animated episodes for them. Like, as you saw, I think some of you probably saw the sculpt of the dragon that I'm doing. So I'm trying to work on that too, and then I got to do illustrations for the kids' books. So I'm like, do I really want to do this right now? I would love to. I really would love to. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Gunnar. Like, I'm thinking, like, I want these books to stand out. Like, these are for special books that people want to, like, have forever, basically. Like, last as long as they can possibly last. You know, my sister was like, oh, you could do the typesetting and the artwork, and then I could do the rebinding. I'm like, yeah, but the rebinding you're thinking of doing is, like, the glue. I want to, like, hand sew, make these, like, museum quality books. Very different, right? But I kind of just got on this idea that I would do a really pretty one of Manacled for her. And I was like, yeah, I'd like to do a lot of other ones. So I don't know. I might do it. I think I don't know if anybody would care, but if I was like recording the process of doing it, I don't know if that would make it worthwhile, because I think I'd have to have something else to make that worth doing right now when we have so many other things to do. Like, I have another plan for you guys to like experience a kind of like a online scavenger hunt that would give you access to the tavern archive, and I'm trying to develop that, and it's so much stuff. Like, I need a team of artists so I can just do a lot of art directing and get all this stuff done. But we don't have the money, so I gotta do it all myself. Being a one-person team is kind of rough, because obviously Castle's doing all of the script writing and then video recording, and then I need to do the edits, because otherwise he'd have no time to do any kind of writing at all. And he's got to write the books, right? I have about 30 copies of Alice in Wonderland with different art. Right? Like, I have a bunch too, because I really love Alice in Wonderland. So I have quite a few also. But usually, like, there'll be old ones that I find. But I totally get that, Kemian. And yeah, I would love that also. I would love that also. I'm also, but with Maddie like requesting artwork for me, it's kind of been nice because I'm getting back into doing some of the illustrations, which I haven't really done in a long time, and that's been stopping me from doing the children's books because I'm like, ugh, I'm gonna be rusty and it's gonna be bad. I'm gonna like need to redo it all because I'm gonna hate it, right? But because Maddie's giving me these like separate projects to do, it's kind of getting me back into the mode of doing these illustrations. So I think I can hop on to that again soon. Hello, Otsdarva. Welcome back. So we have just all these things. I have many projects I can give you. Yeah, and then I have somebody else that wants me to do their book cover, and they want that like very soon because they plan to submit their book in April for review. So I'm like, well, okay, but I've got some other stuff to finish first. Almost done with your other one, Maddie. It's this close. This close. Almost done. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. But we have so many fun things that we'd like to do. And I need more manpower. I appreciate that, Maddie. The chill timelines is nice because obviously I have stuff I have to get done. We're doing good. We finished reading. We've been live for about 3 hours now. And we're just kind of doing some waffling before we go to bed. So, because it is late. I know it's very late for some of you. And I do have some cleaning to do. Got dog hair everywhere. It's driving me crazy. And I need to have Rhett help me get the trash out. But I think we're all doing well as far as I've heard. Haven't heard any bad news from anyone, so fingers crossed. Oh, okay. Is it bedtime now? Shall I send you guys off? Get some rest. Yeah. Which is nice because having like an idea of when that needs to be done, deadlines are important. Because as a creative, other creatives in here will know that if you don't give yourself a deadline, you will be at it forever, right? You won't leave it alone. You have to be able to balance the time that you put into it with what you're going to get out of it in the end. It's kind of like I'd have some photographers hire me to do some of the post work because I could do it quickly, because I learned the methods to be like, these are the things that need to be done and are ready for sending. Whereas like when you're creative and you have like a personal attachment to something, you'll want to keep working on it and working on it and working on it and working on it, and it never ends. So it becomes detrimental. You kind of feel like an afternoon nap. Well, it sounds like you did a lot of work, so maybe you should. Why don't you do working streams, like not answering chat but showing the process that it takes to achieve the art you make? I could, because I did try. It's funny, like in the past when I started streaming, this was a long time ago, the intent was like, well, maybe I could be doing my artwork while I'm streaming, but the problem was I'd have a hard time taking care of both because I like get tunnel vision when I'm working. Like I just want to like sit and focus. So doing that and checking chat was very hard. Like I did some emotes and like some badges for Killshot Kitty, and that was fine because it usually takes me about 30 minutes to an hour to do those depending on what it is. And that's like kind of the only thing I could really do, because if I'm working on a heavy piece, like I want to just zero in. So I get that, but also people don't really watch the stuff unless you're engaging, right? So that's That's the caveat there. And if I do videos of the bookbinding stuff, I'd probably just record it so I can move the camera around. If I stream it, it might be a little difficult to see what I'm doing. But yeah, I've thought about it. I have thought about it. But that's kind of been our issue is like I wanted to work on all this stuff, but we also have to be focusing on getting our finances and desired budget to meet up well. So we can get out of here and then hire more people to help me work on some of the art side of things because there are so many things that I want to do and I need a coder. Like I just need all this other stuff that requires a team, really. There's times I forget to stream because I'm writing an outline for future stuff, which I think is fine. I think sometimes you do need to focus and not get distracted by talking to people. Writing a book sounds a lot like building a car. It's never ending until you're finally satisfied. Yeah. And it can be like that unless you're already signed on with a publisher or you give yourself a deadline so that you're forced to have something finished by a certain time frame because they will demand that of you. So, but obviously in the sense of a car, like you want it to be functioning. So is it functional and ready to go on the road? Like that's how you know that's done, but it doesn't mean you can't do more work on it, right? But yeah. It can be rough. You gotta find the balance. It's kind of in art, a lot of the times it will be people will want to do like details for the whole piece, where really it just makes sense to do details around your focal point and then to have less detailed areas around it because it's not as important. It just needs to read well. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do details everywhere as long as it looks good, but it could end up being fruitless work because it depends on what you're charging. Like, does somebody want to pay for that, right? Or do they want to pay for like it reads as something and then you have the details on the focal point? So that's what you have to balance. I'm also really annoyed with Barry's third book, and I'm not sure why, which is partly why I'm not streaming it a lot. People don't need to have me cussing my writing out. That's funny. I totally get that. Totally get that. Yeah. When it comes to writing, I'm kind of worse because I'll write a thing, get it out, and then I'll do a revision, and then later I'll be like, no, there's a bunch of stuff I need to change, so I'll go back and I'll revise it again, and then I'll revise it again. It's awful. It's awful. I think it's partly because my subconsciousness not wanting to finish Barry's saga. Partly, I guess that was probably true. It's hard when you've been very attached to something and then you don't want to let it go. Whereas in another sense, like sometimes you work on something so long that you're like, oh gosh, okay, I'm ready to move on to the next thing. And you'll see that happen a lot with media. It could like shows or series of books. Like you can tell like they want to wrap it up, but they have to get through certain stuff. So hopefully you don't fall in that rut, but I think you're in the rut of the opposite end. You don't want it to end, so you're trying to drag it out and you're not happy with it. You want it to get wrapped up nicely, right? Oh my gosh. It's warm. I think I need to get like maybe a linen covering instead of this fur one. Okay, I think I should send you off since I do have other things I need to get done. But I enjoyed you guys coming to hang out with me, and we got 1.5 chapters done for the Child of the Prophecy. It's pretty good progress. Totally get that, Maddie. And but thank you guys for hanging out with me, enjoying some songs and some stories and some chatting. We appreciate you guys, and I'm sure you'll be excited to have Castle back on Thursday. And I'll be around. No, I won't be around. I think I'm working that day outside of the house. So I won't be around. I'm sorry. But you'll see me on Sunday. As always, I've enjoyed my time. I'm glad, Teresa. Thank you so much, and have a good night. Good night, Crystal. Have a good sleep, you guys. You too, Bear, if you're going to take a nap.
The door is wide, the winter ghost is pushed aside. With a bunch of birch and a sprig of green, the fairest morning ever seen. We've raised the brat upon the thorn to wait for breed and the light of morn. Oh, dance for the fire and dance for the seed, for the healing hand of Mother Breed. The wheel is turned and the flame is bright, we're dancing now at the heart of night. And welcome both, the spring is born, the golden crown is newly worn. Drop breaks the frozen crust, we shake away the winter's dust. A ribbon tied to the sacred tree for every spirit wild and free. The cat alone in the morning air as a scent of blossom fills the prayer.